off MBT, they just didn't have any idea Aphrodite was up on top of the catwalk.
Yeah, that's the issue, right? Not getting the information when they're just trying to rush in and get that plant down, and not much you can do at that point when you've only got 2 left and you're facing down the sights of not only Aphrodite, but also having to worry about the AWP of Aureophilia. Didn't even end up getting needed that time, but what can you do?
Yeah, and I mean, MBT, it's not a bad start to things. We have seen them getting picks. They were in a 2 versus 2 situation there. They got 3 kills on the pistols previously. Ayumi hitting a really nice shot with the Deagle, and that's something to take through. You are getting picks onto the CT players, and now it's just about playing that mid and late round a little bit more efficiently, making sure you convert those picks into bomb plants, into site takes, and getting yourselves in positions to just decimate that CT economy. Because, I mean, we saw just before we cut to this screen that Aphrodite's on about $8,000 already, 5 rounds in. So there's money building up on the CT side, and we need to see MBT.Baeters trying to stop that.
Yeah, that's the issue. You need to be able to try and take some economic damage, or at least dish some economic damage, because as well as the loss bonus is going to be for a maxed out loss round, it's not going to be nearly as enough if you can't take a couple of guns out of the hands of your opposition.
Yeah, absolutely. And especially on the T side of Nuke, you need those situations where the CT side are on the half buys or on the SMGs or on the pistols. You need to be getting into the position to convert those rounds to really build yourself up any kind of an opportunity to make a streak of things, because otherwise you're going to end up with very isolated T-sided rounds, not really be able to break the CT side.
Yeah, you said 4 or 5 rounds. That's going to be the key. The problem is that's about half the rounds they have left, so they really need to get a couple of their guns to start sticking, and then they can actually get an advantage. If you just get those numbers for yourself, that's going to be the edge. Let's take a look at our stats, though, as we are still in this pause situation. It has been Aphrodite doing the majority of the work on the Celeste side, but as we've mentioned before, it is always a team effort.
Yeah, and I mean, Aphrodite has been showing up huge across this series so far. She has been an incredible player for Celeste, but this is such a team-based map, and you can see the issues for MBT.Baeters. CMY and Ying on 1 kill apiece. Funny yet to get a kill in the server. Ayumi trying her hardest, but yet to get even a positive KD. So clearly some issues on the T side at the moment, but it's MBT's pick, and I'm hoping they've got something left in their pockets.
I'm hoping so too right now, and they're definitely going to be facing some tough competition here. If I'm reading that one right, there's diffuse kits all across the board on the Celeste side, but they haven't needed them because they've just been able to stack it up constantly.
Yeah, and I mean, look at the cash as well. Most players have at least 1 more buy available in them, and if these rounds keep stringing together, they're just going to put themselves in such a demanding position economically, such a commanding place to be, to have that cash in the bank and to know no matter what comes at you in the next round, you've still got to buy in the bank.
Yeah, I'm curious though, like just in your opinion here, Wolfie, MBT, they did pick this map Nuke, and I think that was probably one of the biggest surprises we've had for the tournament. Why do you think they went for it?
I think when you're playing a mixed roster, Nuke's a good pick to go for. It's, as I've said previously, very execute heavy. It's a map that rewards that teamwork, and when you're coming up against mixed rosters, it can end up being you need players to show up, and Nuke's one of those maps where it can't just be 1 player showing up, it has to be 2 or 3, and you have to really play as a team and as a unit. So the pick makes sense in that regard, but then you look at how Celeste have been performing across this series so far, and you look at what they've brought to it, and you think maybe Nuke was the wrong decision. Maybe you fed right into their hands. They looked so good on the T side of Mirage. They played as a unit. They hit their shots. They were just demolishing everything XOP had to offer. And if you take that and transfer it into this map, I think it's a little bit of a miss.
Yeah, potentially there, as we're still waiting to resolve some of those tech issues. It looks like we have CMY popping out the server once again, and we will come back to us. Hello, how's it going? Oh, no, it's not us.
It's not us.
It's someone else. Hey,
there
back on stage.
go.
There we go. Hey, hopefully this means we'll be ready in a moment. But I think another thing we have to consider at the moment is the fact that there have been player swaps happening on MBT's side. We have CMY back in, even though she has been popping in and out of the server, but Mirren was the one who played yesterday. So there is potential that MBT have had some troubles there when it's come down to who they wanted to start.
Yeah, I mean, we saw CMY coming in the first day where they did get that victory, and then Mirren comes in yesterday not quite able to do quite the same job, and I think they have just fallen back to that initial pick, the player they liked playing with the most on day 1, and perhaps even that's where this Nuke pick's come from. Perhaps CMY likes it.
It's very possible. I think, and I'm not trying to single out an individual player, but when you have so many swaps like that, sometimes it's a little bit difficult to jump straight into the match. I wonder how much time they've actually been able to practice with CMY in between these rounds. And
yeah,
that's the issue. When you are swapping players, sometimes it can do more harm than good because you're used to getting into a certain flow with certain people making certain calls at certain times.
Yeah, I mean, player swaps are very unusual in CS rosters. You don't very often see teams opting to take players in and out, and that's exactly the reason why. Everybody has a role in a CS team, and if you're swapping swapping players in and out, then that role has to change. It has to be dynamic, and that puts extra pressure, especially on that fifth player who's coming in and out. They've got to learn more roles than anybody else in the team, and potentially that puts even more pressure on them to perform.
Yeah, now if I think back to day one, CMY, I think she definitely put in a better performance than Mirren as an individual, but as we've mentioned for MBT, it is a pretty team-heavy execution roster. And would you say that this team probably has the edge a little bit better with CMY?
I think so. I think from what we saw across the 2 days we played, of course, it is 2 isolated games. Mirren might have just had a bad day, but CMY, she looked better on day 1, and Mirren really didn't show up in day 2. It was a little bit unfortunate for her that she didn't get perhaps the best Counter-Strike she could offer across, but I think CMY is the right call, especially at such a crucial point, looking to get that place in the playoffs, looking to play later today, and that's where Mirren could perhaps come in. CMY plays the early game, gets that playoff spot, and then you get a fresh player and you get someone new, someone who's been practicing all morning, hasn't had that fatigue of being in the server, and potentially that's where the star potential comes through.
Oh, that's a good point, actually. It is worth noting that the double best of threes are going to have to be happening for the teams that do win through, and that is a slog for a day for sure.
Oh, yeah. And I mean, that's potentially where that sixth player really offers up something a little bit different than your opponents are going to have. You've got that fresh aspect, that fresh set of eyes, and that fresh aim, and that sometimes is the difference.
Yeah, fairly fair, but it's going to be a little bit difficult looking up the likes of their opposition, right? When you look at teams like Orange Sphinx, who we've already seen them play up against, when looking at the likes of 7 p.m., which is a bit less known quantity for these two particular teams over in the B bracket, I think it's still going to be a tough ask. But this is what happens when you have that double elimination setup. You have to face off against the toughest teams eventually.
Yeah, and everybody's got to play the toughest teams at some point. You've got to prove yourselves against the big dogs. And I mean, 7 p.m., they have put on an incredible performance. Having come through that open qualifier, they have looked so good across the series, as of Orange Sphinx. And I mean, whoever you're facing in that playoff bracket coming up later today, you're feeling a little bit worried. And both coaches, I imagine, have been seriously looking at their opponents.
Yeah, the issue is you got to make sure that you can win the first round. If you don't do that, you're not going to have to worry about facing off against the tougher teams in the playoffs. And, this is kind of that last-ditch effort to make it through. You can't afford to lose 2 rounds in a row, or at least lose 2 matches in a row. Otherwise, you will be out of it and don't get that chance to qualify for DreamHack Valencia. Yeah,
which would be a massive shame, especially considering how some of these teams have performed and what Celestè and MBT, they've shown that they can play some seriously good Counter-Strike, and it would be a shame not to see them going through.
Bit swingy for a couple of them, though. I think less so for MBT than it has been for Celestè, but I'm really looking back to that CT side, or rather that T side on Mirage. It was insane against XOP.
Oh,
and as much as we can call attention to the fact that the CT just didn't look all that great for the Mongolian team, I really want to give Celestè some credit there. They built so much. We could see every single round they were winning, there was a slightly louder chant or a slightly louder cheer coming up from the team, and it just kind of exploded when they finally won the whole thing. And you could even hear it a little bit in the last couple of rounds.
Oh, yeah, and I mean, as much you can't take away from the fact a team's still got to win a game. It doesn't matter what your opponents are doing. You've still got to play your brand of Counter-Strike, and I think Celestè did that brilliantly on Mirage. Their executes looked absolutely perfect. Their nades were all landing in the right spots, and even when things went a little bit wrong, when they had those disadvantageous situations, they still converted. They believed in themselves individually, and they believed in what they're doing as a team, and you could see it on the server. You could see that everybody was comfortable in what they were doing. There was no miscommunications. There was no misfires, and it was fantastic.
Well, it's better when you're performing better than the servers. It looks like we still have a couple of those issues, so it's going to be a minute or two before we get them all resolved. Thank you for bearing with us throughout it all. But, if we can't take anything away from these first 4 rounds, we've talked about how CT-sided this map is, but looking at it from the 4-0 start for the likes of Celestè, it does seem like they just have one up on the information game.
Yeah, which is a confusing one. Considering this is MBT's pick, you'd expect there to be some kind of background knowledge, some kind of idea of how they want to exploit Celestè on this map, because that's what you need on the T side. You need something you can work, and everything they've tried so far just hasn't panned out. We've seen a couple of rushes through the trophy room down in towards B ramp, and they've just been mowed down every single time they've tried that. It seems to be a fairly standard call for them on pistol rounds. We've seen them go for the outside execute once. The smokes were great from Red Box to Secret, but they left a gap in the open, and Valinsible and Oriophilia just abused that, get 2 opening picks, make it all too easy. And once the CT side have that 1-man, that 2-man advantage, it becomes very, very difficult for your Ts to get anything going.
Yeah, so again, it just comes back to the execution. It doesn't seem like the strategy is maybe a bad one, although I would like to see them give one more chance at Squeaky and kind of try to push through there, because it was a bit of a bloodbath when they actually did go through there, but that was on a pistol round, and we haven't seen them attempt that execute very much since. And do you think maybe they should try to mix it up a little bit more?
A little bit more utility, and you can get that Squeaky push going. They did need the smoke to go far deeper. You need to smoke off Mini, then you're aware that the upper is a possibility. If you get a smoke up there as well, you do have free passage. Dive down there and start to execute onto the CTs before they've really got established on the B bomb site. It takes a while for the CTs to rotate into B, so a fast take of that B bomb site can be very, very difficult to deal with on the CT side, and we really haven't seen MBT try that yet.
Yeah, and entry frags are going to be really key too, right? Like, that was one of their best rounds. We started to see that was the kill over on Secret. So maybe if Ayumi can get that up, I mean, it was a brilliant shot on the op too. So I'm looking forward to seeing if they can maybe keep that going on the attack.
Yeah, and I mean, they've clearly shown what they can do. They just need to start bringing it out more consistently. We've seen they can hit shots. We've seen they can make those plays and make them happen, but it's about doing it consistently and doing it across a series of games, and they've not quite shown up yet today. Perhaps this break might even play into their hands. They get a moment, just mental reset, and they can just think about, okay, we haven't been hitting those shots necessarily. Our executes have been a little bit off. Where have they been missing? What are we doing wrong? Look at that now, because you've got a nice long break while this tech pause is being sorted out. Think about how you can make those executes work a little bit better.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, having a little bit of extra time just to disrupt the momentum, even if for yourself the mental reset isn't exactly what you need, being able to kind of shut down and cool off Celestè a little bit. We've talked about how they stack rounds, they just cheer, they get more excited, they push more, and they don't tend to over-push. That's the other thing. Celestè, they are an excitable team, but they're not one that necessarily jumps the gun, to borrow a phrase.
Yeah, and we've seen, I mean, from these 5 rounds, they've been perfectly timing their aggressions. We saw them against the second round pistol buy. They went aggressive in towards the B halls, in towards admin and trophy room, and they took it so efficiently. The smoke was really well timed. You saw MBT just had to jump through the smoke, and that is all too easy for SMGs to mop up. And besides that, it's not been anywhere near aggressive, and of course, it's very difficult to play the CT side of Nuke aggressively as we do get back into things. Not a lot of cash at all on that T side. The timer ticking down, and there's a very strong buy across the board for the CT side.
Yes, there is. I am not sure if that's for Oreophilia just going to be a little bit of a glitch. I think she still was hanging on to the AWP from the previous round across the board, though. Yeah. You have that AK still saved by Valenceable, and that is kind of the key thing. Valenceable has not died since she managed to grab that, and you can even see it in her KD.
Yeah, and this is a really nice smoke from Celestè early on. It's the same smoke we saw them drop when they took control of that B halls area, and that means that MBT, they've just got to play very passively. They don't know if Celestè pushed up behind that. They've seen them do it before, so a very difficult situation for MBT early on. They have no control towards outside. They're all stuck outside of A at the moment, and somebody has to find a pick. Ayumi trying to play the edges of the smoke, not spotting out anything at all, and the nade will break the door, so Squeaky Dive looking to be of effect, but Iceberg still on top of the hut, and Tarathiel gets the early opener.
That's going to be 2 immediately. With Valenceable and Iceberg assisting, Ying does manage to turn one around on Tarathiel, and Ayumi manages to get some spray down, but not before she gets taken out, and it's just all on to Ying to try to get at least one, turning it into a 1v2 situation here, but this is going to be so difficult. Through the smoke she goes, and Oreophilia with that op up, looking for the scope on. If she can take out Afrelin, this becomes a lot easier, a lot more of a manageable situation. Good job on that. Nade coming out, and actually forced him back. Ying getting the headshot. Afrelin is taken out, and this is a 1v1 truly.
Bomb on the back as well for Ying. She's got plenty of opportunity as she's going to smoke off Mini, try and lock Oreophilia out of this site. The rotation coming through for the CT player, looking to give herself a different angle to work with as Ying diving down the vents, and I think Oreophilia just caught a glimpse of it here from that.
She'll get the plant, though. For the first time, they actually get a little extra money T-side, and now it's just going to come down to who can execute on who. Ying tagged to 65 HP. She cannot afford to take an op shot.
And this is going to be so key. Ying not opting to play the head triangle, looking to get aggressive right into the crosshair.
Oh, MBT finally grabbed that round, and a massive cheer comes up from the Malaysian side as Ying even manages to salvage an AWP.
And it took a quad kill, but they've managed to get it. Ying coming out absolutely huge on the T side for MBT, diving down into the B area. A missed AWP shot from Oreophilia, perhaps a little bit unfortunate. She brought the pistol out and managed to get a little bit of damage off, but not quite enough. And I mean, all the same, you can see the economic situation that the T side are in. They're dropping down onto SMGs.
Yeah, they are, and that's a little unfortunate to see. But if Ying can do what she just did another round in a row, they can start to swing that momentum. Ayumi is the one who's the benefactor of that AWP. And there isn't one on the side of Celestè. It looks like they've chosen to invest in M4A1s.
Yeah, and you can understand that decision. They'll know the T-side economy isn't established at all yet. They know if they can get a round back here immediately, the T's are almost on an instant reset. You don't see these too often anymore, given the new economy system, but there is not a lot of cash left at all on that T-side, and this round has to go well for MBT.
Well, squeaky play finally paid off here, and it looks like the spread out's going to be there. Oriophilia getting dropped by Ayumi, and that's why you give her the op. Seeing if she can get a little bit more damage here from the top of silo.
MBT, they're queuing up towards this A bomb site. They have so much presence outside of A. They're going to look to use the A utility and try and get the execute happening. There's 3 CT players here, so plenty of firepower available, but nothing happening at all. Valinspel only able to get 1 as the trade comes through.
That was
and
fast.
Afrelin, 1 versus 4, surely got to be thinking about saving the org.
Yeah, the economy starts to turn in MBT's favor after this round, so not just 1 off of a hero play coming out of Ying, but 2 now is a much bigger team effort, and only Japan dropping means that MBT are going to be in a much better position come this next round.
And that round was absolutely essential. They had to win it for the economy, and they've managed to do so. The A execute coming through, plenty of utility being thrown by MBT, and they're finding the picks as well.
Yeah, that pause for the techs definitely seemed to help out MBT right now. They have been able to start swinging the momentum in their favor. So the bomb will blow, and good stuff for the Malaysian team.
And this is exactly what MBT needed. They needed to stop that CT economy growth. They've managed to do just that. You see Afrelin trying to keep her hands on the AUG, and they're going to start to build some cash of their own, build a little bit of bank. You can see the M4A1 being saved by Funny. So they're getting plenty of rifles saved. They're going to get a little bit of cash in the bank and give themselves a little bit more of a platform to build on. It's really the first time we've seen MBT in a position to take advantage of a little bit of a dodgy CT economy and perhaps start to string a few rounds together.
Yeah, crucially, hanging on to quite a lot of their rifles at the moment. A few seconds to tick down before we decide what they actually pick up, and it's forced Celestè into a situation where they're more or less stuck on pistols. The only AUG saved by Afrelin.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, CT side, nuke, pistols, it's always an opportunity, and MBT, they have to be very, very careful here as they are going to go for the early nades in towards Squeaky, try and get that dive onto the A bomb site very early on, isolating the fights, and the spray's good for 1. The trade is there, but they are finding frags, and Oriophilia's got a double with the USPS. The P250 looking to do more for Valinspel, and the frags just about going the way of the T side here, but if Afrelin can make something happen with the AUG, it could get interesting.
Yeah, there was that check-in through, and the Molotov coming down, but not before Afrelin is able to spray down Funny. It's a 1v2 here, and Ying really only on a pistol herself, I think.
An AK
that's another one of those glitches coming through here. This is going to be tough. The bomb has been planted down. Perhaps Afrelin can get something done. It's a much more manageable situation than it was as she keeps the scope up, hoping to find somebody jumping into her sights.
Has the flashbang as well. She knows where Ayumi was playing previously. She's taken a couple of peeks towards that angle, and Ayumi's still stuck there. So gonna take the shot. Hits it, though, and that's a 3rd round for MBT. It was good work from the pistols of Celestè, but not quite enough.
They did do some economic damage, and that's critical right now, but we'll see what MBT can still pick up off of that. Everybody's got at least 3,000 money to work with, and that will mean they'll get themselves a solid full buy, and on the opposite side, Celestè, they're stuck in a couple of FAMASs. Yeah,
not the best buy in the world at all for the CT side. They do have 5 rifles across the board, but of course not getting that AWP onto Oriophilia is a big loss for Celestè. We've seen what she can do with it. Ayumi has the AWP in her hands, and it's AKs for all of her teammates, so really the strongest of full buys coming out from MBT, and this time they're looking for a little bit of outside control with the same smokes.
You can really see the power of Ayumi when she manages to get her hands on something she can snipe with, and looks like their move is going to be all the way towards Secret. It's a 4-stack there as 1 is holding on to Squeaky. And here's the rush through the smoke. Valinspel wasn't able to find any tags except onto Ying.
Gets a good bit of damage done, but the B-bomb site looking very vulnerable for the CT side. And you can see Valinspel going to make her way down the vent, but they've heard that. Can't get anything done. That's all too easy. And now Tarathiel really has to do some work. Manages to get an initial frag, but down to just 12 HP in towards control. So many angles to check. The glass is broken, so there's a potential to swing out here, and she's looking for a timing.
As that smoke clears, Ying, I think, might be caught in the crossfire. Bomb has been planted down, and with the Molotov coming through, a double Molotov is Funny, has absolutely nowhere to go, has to run straight through it, and Oriophilia is able to find that finisher easily. Japan taking down Iceberg as she steps right into her sights. A 3v3 situation here. Make that 2 as Tarathiel falls. Afrelin down to 8, but manages to get the kill onto Japan, turning it around with Oriophilia down. Afrelin, no chance to save. MBT take a 4th.
And it almost looked like Celestè were going to get the defuse off in the madness of the Molotov. So much utility being thrown by both sides, but MBT just about hitting their shots. They're finding the rounds, and they're starting to find their feet here on Nuke.
Yeah, the swing has come about, and it looks like we have ourselves another pause, but this one should be tactical. Celestè starting to lose those rounds in danger of being evened up.
Yeah, and this is exactly how you want to go if you're the T-side. MBT, they picked this map, and they're finally starting to show why. That execute was much, much better. There was still a small gap in the smokes. There was a couple of missed ones, but they're not going to be too concerned about that. If the round goes well, there's nothing to be worried about, and they do get very early control of the B-bomb site, hitting their shots, finding their frags, and keeping a couple of players alive as well.
That's all you need to do. You talked about on the T side, the really, all you need is to be able to get at least 5 or 6 rounds in, and you consider that a massive victory before you swap over to CT. They're already well on their way to doing that.
Yeah, absolutely. I would take that with a pinch of salt, considering how Celeste look with their executes on Mirage. I think they can really bring something fantastic to the T side of Nuke, but at the moment, they've got to be feeling a little bit concerned. We're going to see them back on the eco. There's Deagles, there's P250s, but that's about the sum of it. Full buy across the board for MBT. They've kept so much cash in the bank. They're going to have full utilities again, looking to exploit the long-range angles against pistols and taking control of outside.
Now this time, they're able to make it happen before Celeste can even react, and that one hold over by Squeaky, of course, is going to be Ayumi just guarding that one, and there really isn't a fast reaction coming out from Celeste at all, but they have to know that this is going to be the preferred method of attack.
And that's a really nice bait from MBT. They went down the stairs, so they've made the noise in towards Secret, and now they're going to start to rotate back through in towards CT, trying to push in towards lockers, and there's so much map control for them to work with here. The pistols really have nothing to do. Missed shot. Japan takes the tag, but the Deagle unable to find it. CNY will find the frag, and now MBT looking to accelerate straight in towards this A bomb site.
Yeah, well, they got the numbers advantage. Japan might be tagged pretty heavily here as Oriophilia on the top side does manage to find the one. Looking for it on the USP, but not before she's taken out. And in comes the rest of the T's, and that's going to be the deletion onto Tarathiel. Bomb will go down easily, and it's just onto Valincible, but she's got to be able to wait for that fire to clear before she has any chance of taking anyone out.
There's a good amount of damage for her to work with onto CNY in Japan. If she can drop 1 or 2 players in this afterplant situation, at least you're making it a little bit more expensive for MBT. You're making it a little bit more difficult.
If there's anybody that can clutch on this team, so far we've seen it is Valincible, but she hasn't been in this situation before. Takes down Japan, looks for Ayumi, nearly lights her up on the reset there, but MBT are still able to take her down funny with the final shot, and it's 5-5.
Very unfortunate for Celeste. It looked like Ayumi was going to go down with that AWP, really so close, but they will be able to get the buy-in here, the CT side. They are going to be able to get the AWP out as well onto Oriophilia, and perhaps that could be the catalyst. They need to start getting some rounds. You can see 5 in a row for MBT.
Yeah, max loss bonus definitely helping Celeste eventually, but it's at that point where this is the first time we've gotten to see them on a full buy in a few rounds.
Nuke is one of those maps where the full loss bonus still isn't enough. You need at least 2 rounds worth of full loss bonus to really get the rifles, because you have to have utility on the CT side. It's so difficult to hold without nades, as the early rush is in towards Trophy, taking a lot of control. MBT and Tarathiel wants to get aggressive.
So does Iceberg here, guarding over on the top, and this could be rough for MBT if they run straight into the meat grinder. Waiting, though, taking their time. MBT, they've been in this situation before. They know what Celeste is capable of as they try to move out through the smoke, and it's going to be that first shot taken by Tarathiel. It's traded on to Tarathiel back from Ying anyway, so it's a 4v4.
Afrelin has to hold this one down. The smokes are going to come through. They're trying to isolate the fights. Nice pot flash. Not going to catch too much as they made their way down the B ramp.
Jump. Ying is able to get cleaned up quickly as Afrelin gets turned on once more. 3v3. It's just trades back and forth. Dropping down into the ramp is funny.
They have control of the B-bomb site as well. Iceberg desperately making her way through the vents. Going to be rotating in towards Decon as Ayumi does get a pick, and Oriophilia manages to trade it out. The bomb going down way too soon. Iceberg just denies it, and now a 2 versus 1. Funny on 34 HP, trying to play in towards the doors. Spots the first player, hits the shot. Now a 1 versus 1, and Iceberg only has the M4 to work with. There's utility still available for Funny, but she's got to retrieve that bomb.
She's got 39 seconds left to work with. Not breaking the glass just yet. Finally, we'll get to it. Can see she's eyeballing that bomb, but the moment the plant goes, you know that it's going to be easy for Iceberg to clean up, so you need to win this 1v1.
Iceberg can get through as well. The window's broken now, and this is all about the timing. Iceberg spots it out, hits the shot. Celeste regained the lead, so not going to allow MBT to get too far ahead.
They did suffer a lot of damage, though, in terms of their economy. The AWP is saved by Iceberg, handed over immediately to Oriophilia, but with the lost income, they can still get some decent guns to work with for this round.
Yeah, that was a little bit unfortunate. You can see Valincible dropping down onto the P90, so not the best buy in the world by all means, and it's a very strong one for MBT. They aren't able to pick up the AWP. Ayumi going to be dropping down onto the AK, but it is 5 rifles, as Oriophilia does indeed take that AWP in towards outside, and interested to see what MBT look to do here against the AWP.
A P90, a Celeste special, it seems, coming through once again, and we will see the defense fanning out, and it looks like it's another play towards Trophy, but MBT are taking their time about this one. It's not a rush.
Yeah, deep smoke again coming through from Celeste early on. Valincible playing on top of the hut. That is one of the few positions you can see these SMGs, the shotguns, really do a lot of work against the full buys. As Oriophilia, you could see almost the peak coming through from Japan. Just thinks better of it at the last second. Going to join up with the team as it looks like they're going to try and exploit this B presence again early on. It has been a position that MBT have looked to try a few times. They've had mixed results so far.
And they haven't got a plant down on A. It's really all been about the B site. Iceberg. Not going to check through that door here as Flash comes down in the smokes. Here's the play in for the T's. Japan does manage to find Afterlin, but not before Funny's taken out. Turns it back around onto Valenceable. Good headshot there, and you can see the difference in the quality of guns. However, Oreo on the AWP manages to delete Ying off the map, making this a 3v3 situation.
And making it winnable for a team as well. The rotation's just starting to come in for Celeste, and this round is a must-win. Oreo up in upper with the AWP. A little bit of an awkward spot. You can see CMY has got her absolutely locked in if any kind of a peek comes through. So really up to Tarathiel and Iceberg to make a little bit of an entry play here. Use that utility, get some information as they are going to flash in, but out towards the CT vents. Japan playing this so efficiently. Gets the first, looking for the spray. The trade is there as Oreo gets the pick, and it's all onto Ayumi, the clutch king for MBT. She starts to peek round, and they don't know where she is yet. The spray's not good. They will get the defuse. Celeste are going to take a 7th, just about.
Celeste needed that round, and they did deliver it. Unfortunate spray for Ayumi. Clutch player not necessarily coming through that time around, but between Oreo and Iceberg, Celeste were able to do it. They need to be able to finish off the rest of these rounds to get into a 10-5 before they turn around on the T side.
Ayumi so nearly bought enough time for MBT there as well. That bomb was so close to going off as the money is a little bit wobbly for the T side of MBT.Baeters. Looks like they're going to get out a fairly strong buy. They have got 4 AK-47s. Funny opting to sacrifice down to the MP7 as saved AK. Orp coming out on the CT side. Still the one FAMAS for Afrelin, but nothing to be too concerned about. And MBT going fast towards Squeaky once more.
Looks like they do. Still grouped up in Squeaky right now as they wait for the fire to clear away. Valenceable keeping that door guarded, and the CTs still pretty good fan out. Heavy presence toward the outside, it does seem, but MBT not going to be going there. So far, we'd only really seen Japan guarding that door.
Yeah, Oreo, of course, with the AWP absolutely locking that down, and they know what MBT are up to here. You can see Iceberg just watching for the peek through those doors as the utility going to come out from the T side. The flash goes way too deep to blind her, so she's in an ideal position to start shutting this one down. There's the opportunity for multi-frags as well, but Valenceable isolated on the edge of the smoke, down to 26. Secondary smoke comes through, actually misses the target in mini, making it a little bit more awkward as MBT, they're trying to wait for the right moment to strike, but Iceberg takes the initiative and gets the opening pick.
Yeah, utilizing on that peek pretty well here. CMI steps through. Tarathiel's able to take her down. It's a bad situation now for MBT.Baeters as they just try to find the sprays. They might be getting tags, but they're not getting the kills.
50 seconds left on the clock. The bomb on the back of Funny, but there's only an SMG for her to work with. There's plenty of tags to find as well. You can see 3 players incredibly low for the CT side of Celeste, but they're just playing the off angles and the off positions. And
Trophy right now.
MBT, an opportunity to get this bomb down perhaps on the B bomb site if they're smart about it.
Just trying to play as quietly as possible. This is not going to be the easiest take by any means. Tarathiel and Iceberg have been stepping up pretty well in this round here.
They've got to go as well. 20 seconds left on the clock. They have to make the play, and it has to be now. So you can see the CT side aware of that information, starting to get aggressive. Tarathiel pushing through the hut and indeed in towards Trophy. She's going to spot these players out if they're not careful. And is it the save? Are they just going for the save here as the damage comes through?
They were trying. The bomb gets popped. Ayumi's just going to have to save on that AK.
That is really unfortunate. A little bit of a misread coming in from the T side. Celeste didn't have any presence at all towards that B bomb site. MBT, they could have got that extra $800. They could have got the bomb plant, but instead, just the one AK-47 saved across that T side as their economy starts to wobble.
Yeah, might be hard-pressed to pick up another round before the half. Of course, we are going into round number 14 here. And the buy comes through for Celeste in a much healthier position than we've seen them. It's 3 saved AKs.
Yeah, and they're going to be able to get the pistols across, but so much money for Celeste and keeping so many rifles alive. Oreo, of course, starting to really feel that AWP, really taking control of outside, being proactive in her peaks, and giving her team so much information to work with. As MBT, they want to go fast towards B again.
Well, they're going to try for it here, but they're taking the time as the smoke looks to clear. It's not going to be easy with a handful of pistols still to work with. Looks like the MBT aggression has been stymied just a bit. Iceberg's been doing such a great job at guarding these from the high ground.
Yeah, it really is an anchor player for Celeste and offers so much as Afrelin just going to start to peek on that B ramp, getting a little bit of information, not spotting anyone out for the time being. You can see MBT absolutely queued up for this peek, so plenty of shots for Afrelin to hit at this point, and she does have good utility behind her as well. A Molotov and a HE to buy time as the jump peek comes across, and Afrelin not quite catching the timing on that one.
Well, slow jiggling there. Not fast at all. Taking their time on the T side or MBT. Still got a minute to work with. As the Molotov comes through, it's not going to spread. So MBT don't need to make moves away from it, but if anything, this will not be an easy breach into B site.
Smoke lineup coming through from Japan. The AWP has rotated in as well. Oriophilia is locking down this cross. Going to be very, very difficult for the T-side to get anything done. Secondary Molotov, so much damage as well. Missed initial shot, missed secondary. That's going to leave the AWP very isolated, and Afrelin really not in a position to do too much. Finally swings, gets the double, the spray. Good for the triple. Oriophilia gets one with the pistol, and this round is almost over. Ayumi desperately trying to clutch something as she gets the first.
Out looking for Iceberg, but not before she's taken out, and that's going to be the end. Celeste will take it through, and rough round to go for. Not a lot of damage done economically. Celeste will still be able to hang on to that AWP. Tossing it back over to Oriophilia. Let's take a look. It says a max loss bonus finally comes in for the MBT side, and this will be the final round of the half.
Final round and final buy on their T side. MBT.Baeters, they had a good string of rounds in the middle, but just been shut down on either side by Celeste. A good 5 initial, and now looking really strong towards the end of the half. And I mean, if you're Celeste, this is a solid TT side. Really gives you an opportunity perhaps to steal something away. If they take the pistol on that T side, things could get really interesting. And MBT looking a little bit confused, just starting to line up that outside smokes.
Yeah, they had a pretty good run of it, MBT, for a few rounds, but the momentum just swung back in Celeste's favor once they were able to shut down that B take, and it looks like it's going to be a push towards the outside. 5 members strong here. Bomb in the front. This is very aggressive from MBT, and they just dive through the fire. That's going to be one tagged up. CNY, that's going to be a second. Funny does turn it back onto Valinceable, but they're rushing through for the Vents play.
And now Tarathiel, the headshot angle is so useful. Gets her first,
Secret.
gets the second,
That's
gets the third. So easy on that angle. Just playing the headshots as 10-5 is the halftime score. Celeste really bringing it back after a 5 string of rounds in the mid coming through from MBT. And again, it was that missed smoke outside.
Just not enough. Able to peek through, able to get the damage, and it looked like the aggressive rush was going to be just enough to break through into the outside play and get that B plant off, but they never got near it. Unfortunately, just wound up in the meat grinder.
Yeah, and if you're MBT and you're picking this map, you're picking Nuke, you're saying, okay, we want to play this map, you need to have those smokes lined up. You can't be missing 1 out of every 3 smokes towards outside. That's just far too much opportunity. And we saw Celeste willing to grab it with both hands. 2 headshots from Valinceable in that last round. As they're crossing across, there should be a smoke in that position, but instead there's nothing.
Yeah, here's the replay through that. Tarathiel coming up with so much damage. Ying did turn it back around, and honestly, though, Tarathiel had a great round.
I mean, everybody on Celeste showed up in their own individual ways. This was Afrelin dispatching the pistol, and that is the exact gap in the smoke I'm on about. Look at how much room Valinceable has to work that.
It's too easy at that point.
And then, I mean, Tarathiel, she's playing that headshot angle so efficiently. And if Celeste managed to get this T-side pistol, it's going to be a very, very long road back for MBT.
All right. Talked about how on Nuke, having 5 is not too bad, but up against the likes of Celeste, as they swap onto T-side, their execution has been stellar in a number of occasions. And let's take a look at how this pistol round goes. It looks like going to be taking a rush up, looking for Squeaky for the time being, and that's a lot of damage from the Molotov.
Huge nade coming out early on. As the push is going to be Valinceable trying to make a way onto the A-bomb site.
Good
So much
Valinceable
presence.
can't find anything on that spray. Tarathiel's taken down first. Japan finding that headshot, and this is exactly what MBT need to get off to a good start.
And Celeste, off the back of that, they've just decided to bail entirely. They're making their way through Trophy Room, and that's going to lead them right into Funny and CNY. So much damage being put out at the start of the round. There we go. Headshots coming through for days. Finally, Afrelin finds the first tag for the T side, but that's all she's going to get. Ayumi with the double headshot. Very, very simple counter-strike for MBT.
Yeah, we've seen Ayumi have pretty solid accuracy on that USP before, and it comes through once again. Pistol round picked up by MBT, and they're going to be breathing a sigh of relief.
That was exactly what they needed. Get off to a solid start on the CT side. We'll see the SMGs coming out. Of course, no bomb plant for Celeste. Not really a position you can look to force, especially on Nuke. You need to be building up that T-side economy as soon as possible. And it's a missed nade from Celeste. They wanted to break open the squeaky door. It bounces back and right onto the team. That was the early damage.
Oh, dear. That is what you call unfortunate.
That is awful for Celeste. Is now
we just complimented the execution, so unfortunately sometimes it doesn't always work that well. That's that first shot, though. Ying does go down to Iceberg.
That's a
Not
bomb
before
plant.
she takes down Tarathiel. That will be a bomb plant coming through.
So that's the exact cash injection that Celeste would have been looking for here. The SMG's going to try and mop up on the retake. There's a little bit of potential for Celeste to move this, but the frag's coming through the way of the CT side, and Iceberg unable to get anything done. So just the 1 frag found, but very importantly, the bomb plant comes through for Celeste.
They finally get a little extra money there, and they do a tiny bit of damage by taking Ying out. But with the defuse coming through, it will be another round for the MBT.Baeters. They keep this one going in their favor, and it looks like their CT is definitely showing up better.
Yeah, so they've clearly been practicing. That pistol round was really efficiently managed by MBT. It looked like Celeste could have done with a little bit more of an execute strategy. Of course, if that nade goes through, they break the squeaky door. It looked like they were trying to go for that vent dive. A little bit unfortunate. It bounces very awkwardly for Celeste, does a lot of team damage, and makes the round almost a complete write-off from the start.
Yeah, here's a good buy coming in for Celeste, though. They do get AKs across the board, and Aureophilia has her hands on the AWP. Meanwhile, on the opposite side, MBT have kind of moved over to some SMGs to pair up with their AUGs.
Yeah, a lot of saved SMGs from the previous round, of course, and this is where Celeste, they need to take control of outside. They need to use that AWP at range, and exactly as expected, Aureophilia are going to go for this early peek. Ayumi holding passively with the AUG, flashed off the angle, has to fall back, and if she walks into the crosshairs here, this should be simple Counter-Strike as the damage is coming through.
Yeah, trades on Valenceable and Ayumi right now. It's pretty spread out on the Celeste side. They didn't make a rush play for Secret, and you can see the guarding coming in here for Ayumi. Has to back away, though, as she's in danger of taking too much damage, and meanwhile, it'll trade off to Japan. The real play, though, it looks like they're trying for the play in onto Trophy. Not going to happen, though, as Iceberg taken out and Tarathiel taken low through the smoke here. Japan trying to find an angle.
They've got a lockout on this A-bomb site as well. Japan has to be cautious of this outside presence, but the bomb's gone down on A, so players all around Japan on that FAMAS. So CMY really trying to get up close and personal. Might have a little bit of timing out the flash should give away a position, but Japan's found an entry. 3 versus 3. There's tags to work with as well for the CT side as Japan goes hunting. Will find Tarathiel. Now 3 versus 2. Aureophilia really has to lock this down. Gets the first shot. Valenceable's on the flank, and she can find one. It's a 1 versus 1. Valenceable, the bomb's not planted for her. Japan taps it, and she knows Valenceable has to come wide on this peak. The timing is there for Japan, and MBT will get the round.
That was close, and it was all onto Japan, managing to find that last shot on the high ground. Good flick up to the top there, and survives on 12 HP, getting the defuse. MBT will take a round in this one.
Triple kill as well for the CT player. Japan coming up absolutely massive. MBT, they need these rounds. They need to start finding some consistency on their CT side, and it looks like players are starting to show up across the server as they will get a full buy-in. Of course, loss bonus really ticking out for Celeste, so they're going to be able to get 5 AK-47s. No warp this time for Aureophilia, and the utility a little bit slim, but still plenty to try and get an execute going.
Yeah, meanwhile, the utility not too shabby on the MBT side here, as they will fan out a couple towards outside, and the rest heading towards that B ramp to try and guard it away. First start with a Molotov to try and buy a little bit of time there. Japan not taking the shot through the doorway, and Valenceable just guarding outside.
Giving herself a little bit of time to work with Japan, making sure there's no kind of rush through the squeaky down in towards the vents. Ying going to get smoked off. Of course, we've seen her consistently picking up that CT AWP, so sets herself up with a new angle, and Valenceable doesn't seem too aware of it. Will find some good damage, but Ying staying alive, and that's all you really need to do with the AWP as the pop flash comes through to buy her a new position. And Ying, they know where she is, but the tag's still through the box.
Hefty onto Valenceable, down to 19 HP, and that's going to be rough as she'll have to go back and rejoin the teammates wrapping around Silo. Looks like the rest of the team playing over at Squeaky.
They've got
trying to move their way in.
They got a little bit of presence to work with towards Hut as well. They just have to find their shots, and you can see such a nice setup from MBT, playing so many off angles. They've just got this A-bomb site on lock. The smoke will keep Japan out of things for the time being, but Ayumi still alive up on top of the rafters. Been spotted out by Iceberg. There's a little bit of damage to work with there as the push comes through.
That's one. Oh, not enough in time to get her down. That's going to be the full elimination, it looks like, for Celeste. They managed to find everyone but CMY. This would be a hell of a clutch as Aureophilia does get dropped, but the bomb is down.
Interestingly, the Molotov getting that first frag, but not quite enough. CMY can't control the spray. Valenceable takes her down, and 11-8. First round for Celeste on the T side, and they really need to build on from this. You can see the economy not great at all for MBT.Baeters, so there's an opportunity here for Celeste to start stringing some rounds together.
Well, unlike the last half, we're seeing a lot more swings in individual rounds. Not a little stack on those loss bonuses. And for Celeste, they still maintain this lead. It is slim, but they do have a full stack of AK-47s. And meanwhile, MBT on the CT side, a little bit rough in the economic department, forced onto pistols, a couple of deagles across the way.
Yeah, and it's not a great situation at all to be in on the CT side. We're going to see some aggression straight pushing through B, looking for the trophy aggression. They're going to actually catch Afrelin. A little bit of an awkward spot for the AK.
Her. That is one tag down, and Ying trying to move through. It's too many targets for Afrelin to take out, so that will be a one-for-one trade. One of the best things MBT could have hoped for.
Yeah, and I mean, Celeste, they've read the situation perfectly. They're instantly diving down into the B-bomb site. They know those pistols have rushed towards A, but Ayumi in the vents is getting so much work done. A nice tag finds the initial frag. The trade is there, but there's still damage to work with.
Hey, it's a 3v3 at this point. You've even saved an AK. Not too bad for when you're forced onto an eco round. And CMY opening the door nearly lights up Aureophilia, but not enough damage with the bomb planted. They've got to move.
The damage really could be the difference maker here. You can see still utility available on that T side. Tarathiel has a Molotov, so does Iceberg. They can lock these CTs out of the site as the push starts to come through. CMY does find an early entry, and Tarathiel's tagged down as well. Iceberg in a really awkward position, trying to use that utility to buy as much time as she can, but she can't do anything. And it's Tarathiel 1 versus 3. Got to try and guard this bomb. CMY taps it. That's it. It's good for 2. A 1 versus 1. Funny still has the AK to work with, but there's no defuse kit available, and she's got to stick this bomb. She'll hit the shot, and does she have time? I think she does.
No defuse kit here, but that is going to be it. They will still get the explosion off. And there's not even going to be a save here. Celestè managed the round. Oh boy, that was almost MBT.Baeters.
MBT running it so close there. The Celestè just secure the round. If there'd been a defuse kit, that might have been a completely different scenario. And I mean, that's all you can ask for from your CT pistols. 5 frags found in the round. They saved the AK. They almost get the bomb defused. And they've really pushed Celestè back onto no money at all.
Yeah, this is pretty rough. Celestè need to win this round out and get their economy back on track, but it's another pistol round coming in for the MBT.Baeters. And I liked the rush. They were able to really surprise Celestè here, but I don't know if it's going to work twice.
Yeah, you can try that surprise strategy once, but after that it starts to get a little bit predictable. The smoke's coming towards outside for Celestè as they're playing very passively, and that is just in response to what the aggression we saw coming in from MBT in the previous. Afrolin's going to walk right into the crosshairs of Ying here. Doesn't quite hit the shot, though. Afrolin takes that initial player down, and now with the man advantage, Celestè looking to push in. Iceberg gets another, and Ayumi has to do something huge here. Gets the first one, Deke. Looking for more, playing the head triangle. Tarathiel gets taken down by Funny, and now it's looking a little bit awkward again. 3v2, but Oriophilia looking to even things out, and Tarathiel just cleans up the mess.
Yeah, that was close for a second, but Celestè, they managed to hold their nerve here, and they also hold on to 3 AKs, so that's about as happy as you can be. And Celestè picking up the 13th round. MBT are going to need to make some moves pretty quickly now that they managed to get a buy-in. 3 AUGs across the board. Make that 4. They need to win this round. They need to arrest the momentum of Celestè.
Yeah, the only thing going for MBT at the moment is that they are on the CT side, so that's getting a little bit of a string of rounds together. The economy not quite there for MBT. They needed to pick up more utility. They had to take that double eco, not something you see too often anymore. As now Celestè look to push on 3 rounds away from taking MBT's map pick away from them. It is the T side and it is Nuke, so by no means an easy feat, but they've got a chance to do something special here.
Just throwing nades through the doorway as much as they can. Iceberg actually gets tagged pretty heavily on that one, and Japan still wading through the smoke. And you can see Ayumi on that high ground, just guarding as much as possible. This is a bit of a murder hole to go through.
Such a nice setup. The A-bomb site can be an absolute lock for the CT side. There's so much utility Celestè have to use to try and get into A, as they are playing very passively into the early round yet again. 1:15 left on the clock. They're just starting to think about an outside execute. Ying on the AWP should have the advantage at range, and Japan and Ying are finding frags, an early 2-man advantage, and MBT, this is looking good so far. Celestè a little bit rattled.
And they don't have the bomb picked up right now either, so Iceberg's going to have to go back to grab it, and they need to decide on an execution point because there's a pretty big split out here for Valenceable, who's just hoping to catch someone off guard on the angle, but doesn't have it onto CMY, getting surprised there by the AUG player, and Afrolin gets tagged as well. This is not looking great for Celestè in this round, and this is exactly what MBT need.
Afrolin able to find one, but that's all she'll get, and Ayumi very aggressive into the hut. Drops the bomb as well. Iceberg taken down, and Afrolin 1 versus 4. This would be absolutely ridiculous. Just needs to try and find whatever she can here. The smoke's fading all around her. Ayumi out in the open will be a nice entry to start things off, but so many angles to clear as upper presence is pushed, and you can see peeking out a Mini. Funny's actually going to take a lot of Molotov damage to try and deny this bomb plant, and will manage to do it as well. MBT 1 away from double digits. 3 rifles kept up, and they're keeping the cash slim for Celestè.
That they are, and this is where it starts to turn in their favor. If they can start evening out on rounds, they can't be too worried about it. Celestè still have 3 to go before they'd be able to take Nuke. But MBT, they said, this is our map pick. We know how to win this one, and it's going to be an AUG spread here. Just Japan picking up the FAMAS.
And the 2K buy coming in, the half buy across the board for Celestè. They do have some utility. They do have some SMGs. Of course, the MAC-10s come out, and Deagles for Afrolin and Iceberg. So there's potential to do damage here, and the more you drop for the CT side, the better. The early push is going to be in towards Squeaky. That nade breaks the door. Smoke comes through into Mini. Japan's actually swung out onto the site and a little bit isolated. Has a nade out. An early frag for Tarathiel, and they have to equalize. Ayumi able to find one, and this bomb's going to go down on A in a 4 versus 3. The Orcs have to find something.
They managed to. It looks like it's turning into a 3v3, but Ying is tagged pretty heavily here. Not able to get through much, and Oriophilia is going to get dropped down with the bomb plant here. Afrolin needs to stay alive through it all, looking for the spray, finding the damage, not enough! And that's going to be MBT just in time to get that defuse.
It almost looked like the half buy was going to work out for MBT.Baeters. Tags to both of the players as well. If that UMP had a bit of a better spray at range, it could have been a completely different story. Double digits for MBT, keeping 2 Orcs alive, and things really getting interesting here on Nuke.
Yeah, it's a pretty expensive round for both teams, all things said and done, but loss bonus starting to tick up here. Celestè can at least get 1 AK off the board. A lot of utility in Tarathiel. Now they should have plenty of money to work with when you take a look at it. 5K, 4K across the board. There's that buy coming in. for MBT. As they've broken into double digits, there's a pause called by Celestè.
Yeah, and this is going to be them trying to work out how they can string a few more rounds together. We saw them get a nice series of 3 on the T side to start things off, and if they can get 3 more strung together, this is their map. They just need to find themselves 3 more rounds somewhere. They need to find a little bit of a weakness in MBT and just try and execute on that. We have seen the early A rushes working to great effect.
Yeah, as long as they can utilize the utility effectively, it seems like that is the difference maker. If they can get the timings on the smokes and the Molotovs, they're able to get MBT pushed back, and a couple of front frags, or entry frags rather, is going to be all they need early on. Let's take a look at what the play is. It looks like they'll be trying to stick together. There's the split off. Invincible going to go ahead and guard outside once more. But it looks like the play is going to be in the direction of Squeaky once again. Oreophilia cautiously pushing out the front. They've always got to be careful about this one. Waiting for the peek. Ayumi coming through, and she's absolutely lit.
And that is a really well-timed pick as well. The damage straight through the smoke. Oreophilia gets the second, and now 5 versus 3. Ying will be able to find one back towards outside, but the Molotov buys so much time for the T side. Funny, though, from upper, Tarathiel and Oreophilia managed to capitalize, and now just a 3 versus 1. And Ying, there's not a lot of cash left on this CT side. She's got to be thinking about saving.
At this point, even though you're putting yourself in danger of being down 4 rounds with only a few more to go, that does seem like the smart play. 3 AKs still persisting on the Celestè side with the bomb down. Really good rush play to come in there. And MBT just didn't expect that angle.
They read that so perfectly as well, Celestè. They saw when they went down to 2K, that rush straight through the A-bomb site did a lot of work. They got the bomb down. They were in a good afterplant situation, and they thought, okay, so if we have AKs, we can make this work. And they did exactly that. Straight through on A. Ayumi tries to get aggressive. Nothing going for MBT.
And unfortunately for Ayumi, she's down to $100 at this point. So this is going to be a rough round from MBT. They should be able to trade a couple of guns back and forth, but if they lose this next one, they'll be forced down onto pretty much an eco round, and that would be match points. So you got to start thinking about, do you go for a half buy in this situation?
Yeah, and I mean, there's only 2 players who can pick up rifles here as well for MBT. We're going to see CMY and Funny actually going for it. They are going to go for the force buy. Ayumi and Ying picking up the Deagles as well for MBT. This is their map pick, and it is not looking too great. Celestè, 14, 2 rounds away from taking it. They'll have the full buy. They have the AKs, and they have the utility as well.
Yeah, that's the crucial thing right now. Pretty much flashes on just about everyone, and it looks like rush through the ramp for the CT side. It's another squeaky play executed. A bit of a split there. Japan does manage to find the spray down onto 1, but Iceberg finishes her off. And it's a 1-for-1 trade. Iceberg taking a lot of damage here. Through the smoke, Funny on the scope up, trying to get them out side of the hut right there. And it looks like Valincible nearly tacked down to 0, but Afralyn will take down Ayumi. Funny already dropped by Valincible through that pistol play, and it's just down to CMY to try and save the day. It looks like this will be another round for Celestè.
She's got to save the rifle. She's got to concede map point here. So CMY knows, of course, that the economy just isn't there for the CT side. She's going to be dropping down Valincible on just 10 HP surviving as well, keeping 4 AKs up for Celestè. They've built themselves up a nice pad of cash, and it looks like, again, they're just securing those 3-round strings. You can see the 4th to 6th round, they get 3 in a row, and now they've got 2 more.
This is going to be another force buy situation, and it's match point right now. This feels real bad for MBT on their map pick. Down and almost out.
The nuke call looking like a very bad move here from the MBT.Baeters. They do have double digits, but they have 5 match points going the way of Celestè. And if Celestè take the first map, they're heading to Overpass, and they've got to feel good going there.
Especially after what happened yesterday up against XOP. So here we are, MBT backs against the wall. They need to string together 6 rounds in a row to pick it up.
And they don't have any cash to work with either. Barely anybody above the $2,000 mark.
Just to get the overtime. Yeah, this is not good. When you're stuck in this situation, you have to hope for a hero round. I think this might be the time you start to rush.
Yeah, I mean, they've picked up the MP9s onto 3 players. They have those SMGs. They have to get up close and personal. That is the only chance MBT have in this round. 3 players on the MP9s. A Deagle for Ying. CMY, of course, saving that AUG. Gives a little bit of potential at range, but such a firepower advantage for Celestè and so much more utility to work with as well, as they're going to go in towards Trophy early on. A little bit of utility, and they do have some outside presence through Tarathiel and Oreophilia.
Patient play, though, out of Celestè. It looks like they're splitting off. 2 to the outside, guarding just in case that was the rush play to try and get the wraparound. Not even picking up the bomb yet. And they're just waiting, taking their time.
Very intelligent play, using the utility as well, trying to clear every possible angle, as this pinch could come in towards the A-bomb site. They have presence towards outside, and you can see towards the T side of Venge Japan, Ayumi just going to get head ripped off by Tarathiel, and the MP9 of Japan good for 1. There's a second there, the trades are coming through, but on the site, Ying can only get so much done with a Deagle, and 3 versus 2. This bomb's going to go down. There's an MP9 and an AUG, and they have to try and make the retake happen.
All right, Funny. Waiting for that check around the angle, but Celestè just need to be patient now, and nuke is theirs. Here comes the sneak in from Funny, and Afralyn takes her out. It's all down to CMY. That's It's going to be one spray. Not enough. Finally gets the light up, but it's not going to be a finisher. And 16-10 goes Nuke for Celestè.
And Celestè take MBT's map pick away from them. What a confidence booster for them to really get their day started in the best possible fashion. They took Nuke, and they clearly showed they're confident on it as well. Celestè, a little bit of a dark horse here, showing that they can play the complicated maps.
That they can. Well, we've already seen them take a couple of interesting picks. I mean, honestly, I think the closest match we've seen with Orange Sphinx was on Vertigo. That, of course, is always going to be a little bit of a wash because it's the newest map in the pool. But MBT, they look stunned.
Yeah, and I mean, you can't blame them. They must have practiced the map. They must feel confident. It is a little bit of a pocket pick for them. We see it sometimes coming out later on in these series when it's best of threes, but they went straight for it, and it's looking like a mistake at the moment. We're going to see Celestè heading on to Overpass next, and that's a map that they can feel confident on. They went the distance with XOP, and they made it happen.
That they did. Celestè's a team that when they get the momentum rolling, they can. There was a lot of rounds traded back and forth, but once they started picking them up, they utilized the economic damage that they'd already been able to deal, and really it was hard for MBT to find a way back into that. So on Overpass, I think both teams execute reasonably well on their CT and T sides. Map, kind of like not really considering the map, but all things considered, I think Overpass is one that Celestè will be much more confident on. Yeah,
I think Celestè, they've played it, they know they can play it well, and they know they can go the distance as well, and I think that's a really key thing to have as we do start looking at the MVP. Ophelia turning up absolutely huge as always. The AWP so effective. 2 opening kills, nothing to be concerned about, and a 1.38 KD. Nuke is such a team-based map, and she's putting up some serious stats.
Yeah, looking forward to seeing how actually it ended up stacking up on the MBT side because they just had such a hard time with getting their economy up and running that the guns weren't optimal compared to Ying, who had 17 kills. Afrelin topped out with 25 here on the top rating, and you can see that's kind of the story of it, the big difference, 1.24 to 0.73.
Yeah, they're just not hitting their shots, MBT. They were missing, the sprays weren't quite there, and when it's that situation, you're not building up your economy, you're not getting the buffer of rounds, it's so difficult to hold on, especially on a map like Nuke, which can just snowball against you so quickly. It's very difficult to get the buy-in without the utility to back it up, so you need so much extra cash, and you can just see it in the kills.
Yeah, not much else to be said for that one. We'll take a look at the AWP play as well. Ophelia having the edge over Ayumi, who did have some pretty solid shots, but at the end of the day, she just got edged out, and she didn't get access to the op as often as she would have liked.
Yeah, and that is, again, that economic situation coming through. Neither player actually able to pick up the AWP all too frequently, and we know both of these players can be absolute stars when they have it in their hands, but Nuke is a map that can be incredibly restrictive to those buys, and it is about having that versatility and being able to drop down onto the lesser weapons, and the stats say it all. Ophelia a little bit more capable at dropping down onto the lesser weapons and hitting those shots all the same.
Yeah, I want to take a look at the pistol accuracy comparatively because that's where Ayumi really shined in that round, but it's unfortunate she was forced to. You take a look at the kill spread, Japan kind of leading the charge there on the side of MBT, but none of the players really able to break into the 20 kill mark.
Yeah, it's a fair spread of kills across the roster as well. Nobody really standing out as the star player for MBT as we do head across in Celestè. They're just all showing up. 3 players above the 20 mark, and that just describes the entire game. Celestè hitting their shots, finding frags, and it's so efficient across the board from them. A really well-deserved first map.
Absolutely. You know, there were a couple of moments where we thought MBT were going to climb back into this one, especially in the first half when they managed to pick up a number of rounds. But even after the technical pause came through, we did see Celestè starting to pick the momentum back up, and it was once again the building cheers every single time. This is a team that knows how to psych themselves up and psych out the enemy.
Yeah, and they did it perfectly. I mean, you could hear them screaming every single time anything goes their way. You can hear the shouts of excitement, and it's such an exhilarating atmosphere to have that team around you who are all so hyped up when you're pulling off those ridiculous plays, when you're making it happen, and that just lifts you to a new level, and we saw it throughout the map.
And when we see on the opposite side, MBT are a team that also get very energized by the wins and demoralized by the losses. We'll see if they can come back. We've got Overpass up next. Don't go anywhere because we're going on a short break.
Saya Riona Sianentan dari tim Celestè dari Indonesia dan saya hari ini merepresentasikan tim saya Celestè untuk interview ini. Di turnamen ini saya sangat merasa girang karena ini turnamen pertama saya dan tim saya karena baru dibentuk pada tanggal 31 Mei kemarin sebelum turni ZOWIE-nya, sehari sebelum turni ZOWIE-nya. Dan untuk persiapan kita belum ada persiapan banyak ya, kita hanya bermain. Untungnya koneksi kita untuk sebagai satu tim sangat-sangat kuat. Jadinya kami sangat-sangat beruntung bisa berada di sini sekarang. Tim yang berkesan di turnamen ini menurut tim saya dan saya itu adalah Archangel karena mereka memenangkan WESG tahun lalu. Menurut saya banyak sekali pemain-pemain perempuan yang jago-jago yang berada di satu Asia ini belum mempunyai kesempatan untuk menunjukkan dirinya bahwa mereka bisa bermain juga di kalangan laki-laki maupun perempuan. Jadinya menurut saya turnamen ini sangat-sangat membantu untuk mengembangkan e-sport terutama pada wanita-wanita di Asia. Untuk para pendukung mungkin kami masih baru tapi kami akan menjanjikan yang lebih. Tetap dukung kami ya.
How do you reveal the hidden enemies in PUBG? Adjust the black equalizer to brighten darker areas, which makes it easier to spot enemies hiding in the shadows. How do you make your PUBG experience more diverse and convenient? Color Vibrance allows for more realistic and vibrant colors. It also provides the convenience to tune colors in-game, making you see the change instantly. Save up to 3 different settings based on your preferences, and use the S switch to quickly change between those settings.
Welcome back, everybody, once again to the ZOWIE DIVINA Women's Asia CSGO Championship for 2019. We are one map down, and we are moving on to the next one. It will be Overpass here, and this is one where Celestè will be feeling very confident, Wolfie.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen them go the distance. We saw them go to OT against XOP, and they just accelerated throughout that map. They looked better and better as the map went on, and I mean, based on how good they looked on Nuke, they could go up from there.
Yeah, I wouldn't be all that surprised to see it come through, and we've only ever seen Celestè have 2 maps, and MBT, they've been the ones who've been getting best of 3s across the board, and they definitely seem pretty happy as they hopped off the stage during the break. I wouldn't be too surprised to see Celestè riding that momentum high as expected.
I mean, these are both teams who rely on that momentum, and when your own map pick goes against you, that is incredibly demoralizing. And Celestè, they've got to be feeling good. As you said, they've only ever gone 2-0 or 0-2, so they're going to be looking to keep that record going and book themselves a place in the playoffs here on Overpass.
And for MBT, it's definitely going to be unfamiliar territory, trying to climb back into this one and force that Game 3 on Vertigo. But they haven't played Overpass so far in this tournament. They've been banning it away consistently.
Yeah, and I think that's a really awkward situation for MBT to be put in. They've banned it away so often. They've put themselves in an awkward position. They haven't played it before. It's going to be first time for everything. And let's see what they can bring to this map, because they are a team who are good at coming back.
That they are. Let's see if the representatives from Malaysia can manage to force a win out on their opponent's map. But Celestè from Indonesia looking to take it all here in another 2-0 and set them up for a playoff performance.
Yeah, perk as well for Celestè. Of course, this is their map pick. They're going to be feeling so good about it. They know that they can play this map incredibly well. We saw what they could do against an XOP side who looked incredibly competent on that first map. They looked really strong in their position. They looked like they knew what they were doing, and still, Celestè found a way through.
Yeah, and I think Celestè on the T side was one of the most impressive aspects of it, but I wonder what they'll be able to get done here, and depending on who picks what first. If, you know, put yourself in MBT's shoes, Wolfie, what would you choose?
I'd go CT side straight away. I wouldn't want to be putting myself in the similar situation we saw on Nuke, where they started on the T side and they couldn't get much done, and they struggled to really build that platform. Yet again, that has been an issue for them. I'd be saying, okay, we're going to go CT side, we're going to build our platform, and then we're going to come out with the executes. We're going to come out and play our best Counter-Strike and really try and build ourselves the greatest lead, try and arrest some of that momentum that Celestè have.
All right, it looks like we're just about loaded up. MBT.Baeters taking on Celestè here on Overpass. Map number 2, all on the line for MBT. Let's see if they can stay alive and force a Game 3.
And they are going to be starting on the T side, so an interesting call, trying to perhaps really feel their way into the game. They do have smokes, they have flashbangs onto Funniers. We're going to see the early peaks coming in. Tarathiel or Ophelia picking up the fuse kit. Going to be making their way out towards long. An interesting call to take that kit so far away from the site as Tarathiel goes for the dive towards Connector.
As you mentioned, trying to establish some fountain control, definitely going to be key here, but the rest of the team going through Connector, not the ones with the bomb. It looks like they won't fully commit just yet on the pistol round.
Just splitting their way through. Going to take eventual control of Party and the opening to bathrooms. Just take a little bit of time to really work your map out. Tarathiel will hear this utility, falls back to the side of the rotation. Almost instant. Valinskill going to be making away off the B-bomb site as MBT. They're playing this round very cautiously, taking very slow control of the bathrooms. Just looking to see what they can find early on.
Yeah, we don't often see this in a pistol round. It's usually all guns a-blazing for sure, and it looks like the play is going to be up through short. Let's see if they can get it done. A lot of heavy CT presence here for Celestè. Smoke comes in. Here's the execution. It's already going to be trades. Ophelia taken down to 3, and Tarathiel taken out through the smoke. The spray is heavy, but it's not finding targets.
And Celestè just struggling to hold on to that site up close and personal against the Glocks. The shot's not quite coming through. Finally, Iceberg finds an entry onto CMY, but the afterplant situation is so difficult without utility, and you can see the CT scrambling to hit any kind of shots. Ying just diving in and out, and the shots are still going the way of MBT. Finally, Valinskill hits a headshot, but it's all down to her now in a 3v1. She gets the first, isolating the fights, but Ayumi swings wide. She'll hit the shot. MBT take the pistol, and that is exactly the start they needed.
Taking the T side first. Might have left some scratching their heads, but MBT clearly knew what they were doing. Picking that up, it'll start to build their momentum here, and the first buy comes in. A couple of MAC 10s on that. MBT playing well up the short route to A.
And that's such a confidence booster of a round as well. You get that pistol in the bag. It was a really nice plant situation. They got onto the site quite late in the round, but they executed it perfectly, kept the CTs up close and personal where the USPSs can't pick you off, and now we're going to see the rush coming in from the CT side. Looks like they're going Fountain, but the rest of MBT are going to be.
This is the worst thing that can happen. The rush through, expecting the team to be there. They realize something's up as they go through tunnels, and this is going to be the easiest B plan of MBT's life as Tarathiel comes through. The spray down is huge right now. Ayumi finding 1, 2, 3. And Celestè are going to be in trouble attempting that jump shot through the doorway, and this is going to be such a good guard for the Baeters.
all too easy. They're just going to be keeping these two remaining CT players completely locked out. You can see Afrelin on just 5 points of health is desperately trying to get any kind of a peek through that door, but there's so much T-sided presence here for MBT. They are perfectly set, as it's even going to be the boost to try and get some more damage done. The MAC-10 going up, not able to find the wall banger Yumi, but they don't even need to hunt here. There's really nothing in it. They're just going to allow these two CT players to eventually get whittled down. Ying finds the first, and now it's Afrelin on just 5 points of health, trying to escape the claws of these MAC-10s, but all too difficult to do. Yumi gets her fourth, and that is exactly what MBT would have wanted from that round. Completely mopping up, getting rid of all of the pistols, and giving themselves an opportunity to build their economy.
Big decision making really sunk Celeste that time, thinking they'd be able to rush down, and as soon as they realized there's nobody at Fountain, they must be going B side. MBT.Baeters thinking they're lucky stars that was the decision call on the opposite side. 2 rounds up here, and they can start to get their economy rolling. Big utility investment.
Going for the bonus round with the SMGs. As always, such a consistent part of this scene is always keeping those MAC-10s as long as possible. Full rifle buy across the side of the CTs. Celeste, they do have the M4s out a little bit short. ZOWIE getting quite aggressive down connector. That gets her a little bit too close for the MAC-10 to my liking.
Now a little bit more cautious play here for Celeste as they fan out. Aggressive push, though. Control of the long bathrooms for the time being for Tarathiel, but nobody's pushing into this one. And up through connector. Now we're starting to see MBT make moves. Very cautiously, very slowly. Ophelia trying to keep as many angles covered as she possibly can.
They're just playing this one very slowly. Again, much like the pistol round, they're going to take slow control, try and execute their way through the map, make absolutely certain that there's no CT presence from Celeste. Pushing those CTs back onto the bomb site is so important on Overpass. You're just taking map control away and making it a little bit more awkward to get the rotations in. It is a long rotate between these bomb sites, so the more information you take away as MBT, the better.
Looks like the regroup comes in here, just up at the top of mid, and it will be a short play, but you do see there is at least one split off. Just kind of keeping control of long bathrooms to make sure there's no flank opportunity coming through here as MBT start to move in mass, looking for the A site. There's still 3 CTs sitting on it. Tarathiel, they know this is the execution. The rotate in's going to happen. Tarathiel will fall, but not before taking out a Yumi. Ying's going to drop. So is CMY. As you mentioned, it is a bonus round here, but it's just down to Funny. Plant is not going to happen, and that bomb is just out in the open.
Ophelia going absolutely huge on the site with the M4A1, and Funny left in a 1 versus 4 with this MP7. Very little to do. Goes for the wide peak. Can't find anything. Valinsible rips her head off, and that is exactly how Celeste would be looking to bite back. Keep 4 rifles alive as well. Start to build your own cache. An excellent hold of that site. Only losing Tarathiel to the aggressive peaks, and now we will see the investment come in. MBT.Baeters going to be able to get those AKs out and try and bite back.
Looks like it will be a full AK buy coming through. Yumi not going to be the one on the AWP, not just yet anyways. And we'll see what the decision making is. I like the cautious push up, but they need to be able to deny Celeste some information gain if that's going to work multiple times.
Yeah, you saw the jump peak actually spotted out one of the players for MBT, and that was when the call was made, the rotations came through, and that allowed them to hold the site as this time a much more proactive fast play towards the B bomb site, and they're going to be going straight through here. The Molotov a little bit too late, and the spray gets some damage down, but her position is isolated. Iceberg has to get this frag, can't quite find it, looking for more. She's finding so much damage, but getting taken down. Valinsible gets one on the trade. The Galil spray not good, as Valinsible actually manages a second, finally taken down. 3 versus 3. There's tags, and Yumi will capitalize. It's all down to Ophelia and Tarathiel.
Much better play on the aggressive push towards B side here. Tarathiel trying to wrap around the site, and so is Ophelia through the smoke, just waiting for that clear bomb down, and CMY did not see her coming there, and that evens those odds out. Ayumi is tapped down to 6 health. This will not be easy, and it looks like that's going to be a trade back and forth into the 1v1 situation. AK versus M4A1. Looking for the defuse there. There's the tap. Funny will know this is happening and manages to get the outplay. MBT take a third.
Straight through the smoke. Funny hitting her headshots, and that is quite something you could see. Tarathiel really couldn't have played that one any better. Drops the smoke, isolates the information for Funny. There was half a gap in it, so perhaps the angle could have been a bit better, but MBT just showing up, and Funny starting to showcase some of that individual skill, as it will be Celeste dropping down onto the half by once again, struggling to get their CT side of Overpass started.
This is good for MBT. Funny was lagging behind a little bit earlier on Nuke, and now she started to come into her own. It's going to be another B push all the way up through Alley right now. But do they take their time about it? Everyone from Celeste is coming to that party.
This is going to be an absolute firefight as the push is going to be straight through Monster. The AK's widening through. The flashbangs are good for one, though.
That's 2. Iceberg dropping down as well. Great play by the MBT side, but they are starting to lose members on their own. It's only Ayumi that's actually dropped. A lot of heavy tags used, but only 2 on the T side here with these pistols, and that's going to be enough to find one, but the bomb plant will come in here. Valinsible through the smoke, can't see a darn thing. Manages to get Ying in the back.
Got the AK as well. Japan's low HP, hits the shot. 1 versus 1 now. And Oriophelia's been sneaking all the way through. How do they do that, Celeste? The prediction of the B-bomb site rush. The second time they eco, they get the call right and they get the round.
They even get a rifle out of it. Oriophilia is going to be able to save that AK, and no defuse kit needed because this was pretty early after the plant. Nicely done. Celeste pick up a second round right out under the noses of MBT.Baeters.
They really couldn't have asked for more. They just get the pistols in and they predict the site correctly. MBT, they wanted to go fast towards B once more. It leaves them incredibly vulnerable to that kind of a stack. And Celeste just hit their shots. You can see Afrelin early on with the P250 making a nuisance of herself. Valincible waits a little bit, a long time for that bomb to go down, but then swings wide, grabs the AK, gets herself a second, and that distracts enough for Oriofilia to make the flank work. We will see the buy coming in, but the force is not great for MBT.
No, it isn't. A couple of SMGs to pair up with some rifles, and MBT might be a little surprised at how that one went down. The rush B did not work a second time. It looks like this time there's going to be a split out as they try to fan out just outside the tracks into short tunnel. See if they have anyone coming through. Valincible might check through as the Molotov fades away. That's going to be the smoke down, and into it goes. Japan did not expect that one completely lit, but the spray was not as accurate as they would have hoped for, so Valincible falls down, but Japan and Ayumi taken out.
Afrelin does a really great job there, peeking in towards short. You can see Valincible wanted to get aggressive, wanted to be proactive on those peaks, not quite able to find what she was looking for, but capitalizing on the damage. Afrelin makes it a 4 versus 3, and all the presence is towards B at the moment for MBT. They only have the 1 rifle left on Ying, and they're really going to struggle to unlock this B-bomb site. You can see the CT rotation. 3 players currently there. They've left Oriofilia just jump peeking towards A, and that allows them to really counter this aggressive push from MBT.
Yeah, this isn't going to be easy at all. MBT thought that the B site was going to be an easier take once again. Surely they wouldn't expect it a 3rd time in a row, but clearly they underestimated what Celeste can bring here. And not even a full commitment. CMY is actually just wrapped around this side over in the connector towards mid.
Just trying to get any kind of information. A pick at this point for MBT is absolutely vital. They need a frag somewhere to unlock a site, to give a rotation, to just put some doubt into the minds of Celeste. And it looks like they are going to make their way back up on towards the A bomb site. So potentially an opportunity here. You can see Oriofilia very isolated with that AWP. Going to have to hit some serious shots on these peaks. Jump peeking the angle. She'll hear the utility, will make the call, but CMY very aggressive on it. The Molotov comes through a little bit too late, and these pistols can be so close. Oriofilia gets one, but the trade is there. This bomb should be able to go down in a 3 versus 2 retake. They have to grab it. They have enough time to do so as the utility goes as well. Look at those smokes completely locking the CT side out. CMY grabs the AWP and looks to retreat towards long.
Now they just need to hold on to this in the retake scenario here. Celeste did get caught snoozing over on the B side for just a second. Jump shot up there, and Tarathiel is able to find Ying, but MBT have run out of players, and that's the defuse. It's going to be another round going the way of Celeste, evening out 3-3.
CMY just missed playing that one a little bit. Opted to stay out on long. Of course, didn't know if there was any kind of CT rotation, but that meant the bomb wasn't planted for her. And as the swing peak came through, she misses her shot, makes it all too simple for Celeste to equal things up. And now we will see the pause coming in. You can see there's not a lot of cash at all for that T side. They're going to be back down onto a half buy once more. The force not coming out in their favor as there's still a decent amount of cash for Celeste. They're keeping rifles alive. They're starting to build their bank, and of course, it is their map.
Starting to come back into this one, if they can do it. 3-3 in this first round. It has been a couple of trade back and forth. We've seen some really stellar rounds, though. It has been hard fought.
Oh, yeah, and I mean, we've seen force buys working out for both teams. We've seen so much CS, and it's been such a great series so far. Neither team really willing to give up anything. Each team desperate for any round they can get their hands on. We've seen pistols, and it will be the MBT.Baeters timeout. Of course, they're going to be trying to work out how they can make these pistols most efficiently used. They are going to be picking up CZs, a little bit of armor for Ayumi as well, but it's not a great buy at all, especially against this kind of rifle buy. The AWP's going to go for the early peek on Oriofilia, get the information, and they can play off of that, Celeste.
Pretty hefty investment into the M4A1s as well for the Celeste side. Here's a big fan out for the CTs. Pretty advanced positioning over by mid, and actually even trying to guard into connector. This could be an overreach here for Tarathiel. We'll see. She needs that angle onto Ayumi as they check around. The smoke's there, and that's a first quick shot. Ayumi taken out on the head.
And you can see MBT, they're desperate to get that short aggression, but just spotted out behind the smoke, down to just 22 HP. Another nade, so much damage being done early on by Celeste. They're opting to get aggressive towards Phoenix. They're being proactive, and Japan actually goes down to 36, a secondary nade from the CT side. Getting proactive against these pistols, not allowing MBT to get any map to work with, as They're just holding outside a monster for the time being. They're just waiting. They want to try and find something. Tarathiel getting incredibly aggressive. Actually manages to drop the bomb as well. She is a little bit isolated. There is a little bit of a pincer as well, but if she can find another frag here, this could be all over immediately for MBT.
Yeah, and MBT don't exactly know where she's at right now. Just looking at trying to reclaim that bomb. And there might be the pincer, but knowing this, Celeste can make moves quickly as they rotate in through Monster. And they just need Tarathiel to buy the time. She tries to do it, but manages to only take out one with her.
Look at this aggression from the B side. Everybody's pushing up from Celeste. They want this round over and done with, and they'll hear it, but unable to do anything. MBT just get demolished. Celeste 4-3, and that really says something about the confidence of the CT side. They just straight pushed up off that B bomb site. They knew where the bomb was, and they were going to go get it.
We've seen Celeste do this in the past. They do like to play aggressive. Whether they're CTs or Ts, they can push up pretty quickly. And this, of course, being their pick, they'll know this map well.
Yeah, and they've managed to keep so many rifles alive. You can see the cash really starting to build. It will be the full buy coming in for MBT. They do have the AK-47s, no warp available, and it's going to take something a little bit special to unlock a CT side that has looked more and more resolute as this half's gone on. Early presence spread across the map for the T side as the Molotovs will come in. Again, looking to take control of that short water area. Ying going to go straight through the Molotov. Takes a ton of damage, down to 28 HP, but
Reckless
they do have control of Phoenix.
At least they can establish that one, and clearly that was worth the risk as far as Ying was concerned. They try to make their moves forward. Bomb hasn't been picked up, so it's all about getting those early picks before you go in to rush the site. Spread out here from the CT side.
Celeste will be really happy with how this early round's gone. There's not a lot of map for the T side. The Ying's taken a ton of Molotov damage, and Valencia will just jump peeking, gets the information. She sees a couple of players in towards short water, buys a little bit of time for the CT side. They do have plenty of presence towards B if that's where MBT look to end up. They've left the bomb in spawn, so they're not looking to commit to either site yet. As you can see, CMY just taking a little bit of a peek in towards that A bomb site, trying to gather some information. Valencia getting tagged a little bit through the wood. Not anything to be too concerned about, though, as MBT, they're playing this one very cautiously.
I think this might be one of those situations where MBT decide it's a better push onto A site. They've already got a partial commit there in mid, and if they go back, rotate around, pick up the bomb, try and get that mind game, a plant would certainly do them some favors, but they need to be able to execute in the after plant scenario. Of course, that's all speculative. They haven't even committed to it just yet.
And Tarathiel's got a really nice position as well, playing an off angle with that M4A1, giving herself an opportunity as MBT are going to push on to A. They can actually get one, but the nade does the work. Valencia just anchoring this B bomb site down, and this is looking all too easy again. Celeste just holding down B so efficiently.
Now with Afrolin here behind the barrels, this is not going to be an easy push-up, and Ying does fall. One last member here on the B site in a 1v2 situation. She should be able to get that plant down, but through the smoke, the spray is there, and Tarathiel wins them the round.
5-3, Celeste. They lose a few players, but against the full buy, that's nothing to be concerned about whatsoever. They will just be happy to be stringing these rounds together on the CT side again. MBT, they're on max loss bonus, but it's not quite enough to be able to get a full buy into this round as so many rifles saved across that CT side. You can see 7.5k on Oriophilia. That is so much cash to have on your CT side of Overpass, and such an opportunity to build a half.
It looks like we will be sitting into a half buy scenario here. CZ's on a couple of the MBT side, and when they get put on this situation, it looks like they might go for a rush, but they are going to be splitting off instead. Bomb is dropped down, and now they're just going to be sniffing through lower tunnels to see if they can find anything, reconnecting up by that water. Valencia there, has the spray onto Japan. That's one, that's two, taken out funny, and the game is up for the MBT.Baeters. That's a third Valencia with a 3K this round.
Making it look all too simple. Valencia in towards short. Tarathiel goes for the flank, almost messes up the spray, but on 10 HP will stay alive, and there's all 5 rifles still up for Celeste. CMY in an awful position. Everybody from MBT had bought really close range pistols, but they're not able to get anywhere near the CT side.
Yeah, they just couldn't touch it right now, and Celeste do seem to have the Baeters number here. And it just looks like CMY is just hoping she can do any sort of economic damage and playing very far back here. I don't think it's going to happen. Even if she does, Celeste have so much money in the bank.
MBT, they really haven't been able to control that short aggression we've seen from Celeste. We've seen them consistently pushing in towards short water, in towards Phoenix, and taking that map control away. I would quite like to see there's a Shroud wallbang you can try, which does wallbang on that short aggression. I think that would be a really useful one. If MBT know it, it gives them an opportunity, as Tarathiel on 10 HP does just manage to mop up the remainder of that T side.
All right, Celeste take themselves a 6th round here on the 9th, and it looks like MBT might be struggling a little bit. Can only hope their CT is going to pick up.
They need to find a way to just arrest that control that Celestè are getting over the map. They're getting nice and aggressive, but all in the right areas, as we will finally see ourselves an AWP duel. Ayumi opting to pick it up is a fairly common sight on the T side for MBT.Baeters. Oriofilia, of course, the absolute staple AWPer for Celestè, and it looks like she might go for the fast peek here. She's got a nice spawn for it. She could look towards Fountain.
Oh, boy. There's a pretty big commit here by Fountain as well. The bomb's been dropped down, and Ying is taken out immediately. That is why you give the op into the hands of Oriofilia. Forward play, they just immediately back up. They know they have the number advantage.
And that is exactly how Celestè want to open the round. We really haven't seen them getting aggressive on that Fountain peak too often, as MBT just stall off of that opener. They are trying to take map control, but it's a very slow and very cautious take now. They know they need to get something back. They do have control of the playground as they start to make their way in towards Party, but you can see Oriofilia currently posted up in the divider. She has Tarathiel in the bathrooms to cover all of the extra angles, so such a nice setup from the CT side.
Yeah, you can tell it's been a very cautious situation here for the Baeters ever since they lost the 1. Even so, checking through, look at where Vincible is posted up too.
So aggressive. Yet again, they are taking that short control away. And MBT, they don't have an answer to it. Vincible's getting so much information for the CT side. They're making sure these pushes can't go anywhere unexpected. Oriofilia even opting to get aggressive as CMY takes a heavy tag from Tarathiel. That Molotov going to force her back down. And she's taking even more damage. She burns alive. Tarathiel gets the second. And now this long aggression has to work out for MBT.
It absolutely does right now. Tarathiel still holding that bathroom control. Vincible will fall down, so there's at least an answer back from Japan. But is it going to be enough? Funny tag down to 13. It's still a 3v3 right now, but the T's are heavily tagged, and that aggression on the A-long has been stopped for just a moment here. Oriofilia in the close corridors, utilizing that pistol, turns it back up with the scope. Will be able to find that easy shot onto Japan, but that's going to be the go switch onto the A side here for the remaining T's. MBT, they need to make this work out, but it's just going to be down to 1. Ayumi, maybe not as useful on. It's going to be the round. Celestè let up a big cheer. 7 goes in their favor.
And Oriofilia goes absolutely huge there. That's a quad kill from her in the round. That AWP just being the absolute difference maker between these two sides. Celestè, they just look so efficient. There was a couple of missed shots there. It looked like they were getting a little bit complacent, perhaps feeling a little bit too comfortable, as it will be another buy coming in, of course, for MBT. They're on that maximum loss bonus. They've got everything they need, but Celestè have the rounds.
Celestè have the money to work with, too. Take a look at what Oriofilia's got to work with here, only dying 4 times so far. 7-3 on the CT side, and they will be taking another aggressive push-up into mid and try to establish some control here on the Fountain. However, it's a B push for MBT.Baeters. They've decided enough time has passed as they force 2 through Monster here. There's a lot of smokes, a lot of Molotovs coming through. Will they be able to make this one happen? They need to get the execution. It is a full buy scenario, and they found Vincible on the headshot, looking for more. That's going to be another, but CMY and Ayumi both get tagged. Ayumi on 1 HP here as Iceberg looks to hold the line. The bomb does not get planted yet.
The double spray, not quite enough. It is 3 versus 2, but you can see the AWP for Oriofilia, so these tags might not be the be-all and end-all for MBT. They just need to be incredibly conscious of how they're playing this Celestè. You can see Oriofilia very slow on the flank. She's trying to make her way through. She'll hit the initial shot. What a flick, but it is the 1 HP player, so still opportunity as Iceberg looks to make her way up bridge, and Japan on the side can't be taken down. Oriofilia misses the shot. It's all on Iceberg. 1 versus 2. She's got the initial fight. She knows where the second player is. She knows where Japan is, but the wall bang is good. MBT will get a 4th. Not quite enough done for Celestè.
And MBT will be breathing a heavy sigh of relief there. They managed to hang on to the AWP for Ayumi. They managed to get that bomb plant, get that money, get that round. And they need to string a few more together before the half.
They need to keep their economy going as well. You can see they're still not in a great position. They don't have that cash to back up this buy. A very different story. Oriofilia, she had 12 grand. She's dropped everybody on her team. She's got a full buy out across the board.
Shopping spree for Oriofilia, just picking it up for her teammates. Hey, that's pretty solid for Celestè right now, and we'll see if they take another aggressive push. It looks like most of the team actually committing over to the B side once more, and it's a big fan out here into water for the MBT.Baeters.
Looking for that short control. They're looking to counter Vincible, and they've done a great job there. The dink comes through on the MAC-10. A little bit unfortunate that it wasn't an AK. That could have been a great opening pick, but the aggression is really well managed by MBT. They stop Celestè, and they stop Vincible getting her way up short to start this round off.
MBT have been doing this quite a lot, where they decide to go for a push fast but don't take the bomb with them. So they can always regroup, go back, and try for a push on a different site. Vincible getting tapped heavily, and Tarathiel taken out thanks to Japan on that AK.
Spots out the boost and just reads it to perfection. Now 4 versus 5. This is where MBT, they're going to look to group. They're going to look to hit this B bomb site. There is 3 players here, but one of them's incredibly low HP as Yin goes in early with the MAC-10. Taken down. The push comes through, and Funny manages to get something done with the MP7.
He does, but Iceberg was there to answer back. Valenciable now tagged down to 2. Can't really afford to peek out anytime soon, and it looks like this play on to B, the execution should be there. They just need to get that plant down. Still with 4 members, but into the fire. Valenciable turns it around, and Ayumi had no idea she was there. That's going to be another spray down. Iceberg combos up with Afrelin to take out Funny, and it's just down to CMY on the AK-47. Iceberg's dropped. This could be the turnaround, but the plant needs to be huge, or excuse me, the retake needs to be huge for the CT side.
Valenciable on 1 HP is going to stick this bomb. Oriophilia knows that it's coming out of
That's
Monster,
it.
hits the shot. Celestè instantly respond after losing the previous round in some start. Valenciable alive on 1 HP, doing so much work for the CT side.
That's going to be clutch, as the economy might have been another story if they had not been able to take that round out. 8-4, only 3 left in this half, and Celestè still leading the charge.
And this is exactly what you want on your map pick. You want to get that advantage. You want to get yourselves an advantage in rounds and really start to feel your way into the server. Second map looking good so far for the CT side. Oriophilia popping off something silly with that AWP, looking so dominant. The buy is going to be okay for MBT. They're, of course, on that maximum loss bonus, but not the best of starts at all.
No, it's not. And if there were any lingering questions about Celestè being a new team, wondering how they could execute together, you can dispel those right about now, because here on Overpass, they are working like a well-oiled unit, guarding forward positioning here for Valenciable, looking to move into lower tunnels. And just starting to feel like a hunt.
Mixing up the play really well as well, the CT side. Normally, Valencible's playing in towards that B bomb site, getting aggressive towards short. We've seen MBT, they have a counter for that now, so Valenciable goes aggressive somewhere else. She's taking that connector control, taking map away again from MBT, and they should know now that this isn't going to be an A hit. There's so much presence for the CT side. They have all of the information towards A. As MBT, they're still queuing up in towards Phoenix. The bomb back a connector for the time being, as Valenciable might take the early contact here.
Well, she just might. It's going to be down to the spray, and who knows who's where. But MBT, they have to know that Celestè like to play an aggressive CT side here.
This is a really
Valenciable
nice
waiting.
angle.
This is going to be great. Onto Ayumi, has no clue. The spray, it turns around though. Valenciable just didn't have the right angle.
How has Ayumi done that on 19 HP? She's bought her team an advantage, and now they're looking to springboard off of that. They've taken control of the bathrooms. They're slowing it right down again. They know they have the advantage now. 38 seconds left on the clock. They've got to try and get this execute going, and the bomb's going to make its way past Fountain, but Oriophilia, she's still alive, and as she's on the A bomb site, this could be very difficult. The utility being thrown as the execute will come through.
MBT have been able to overwhelm before, but will it be enough? The op shot does not connect. Smoke's coming down. Here comes the Molotov. Turns around, manages to find Ying on that connection, but not before she's taken out, and the rest of the CTs scrambling to try and respond. Down to Iceberg and Afrelin, but CMY is the only healthy member on the T side. Coming in looking for the plant. Make that just CMY. The spray down. Celestè will take a 9th.
Iceberg goes absolutely huge on the clutch. What a play from her. Tarathiel and Iceberg, a double kill apiece on that A bomb site, just locking it down and catching MBT. You could see the time was just playing on the back of their minds. They didn't have enough time to waste getting that bomb plant down, so they had to try and push on in, and that just walked them right into the crosshairs of Celestè, who were 1 away from getting double digits and 1 away from looking incredibly dominant on the CT side.
MBT are starting to get predictable. They tend to move towards B first off, and if they can't get an easy rush into there, they turn towards the A site. That information is known by Celestè, and they're going to go very aggressive, even controlling long.
Again, it's going to be a straight B play. Fast through Monster. Iceberg the first target as the Molotov goes deep, and that's going to do a good amount of damage. A little bit too far forward, but the nades can come through for the CT side, and they've got so much presence towards this B bomb site as Japan, up close and personal, trying to get something done with the AK. You can see the nades, they're locking the CT side out.
Yeah, but MBT, they have managed to make their way pretty quickly through there. Iceberg does turn it around on Ayumi. Japan gets tagged up, but not enough to be eliminated. Finally, the spray through. Afrelin coming up with some big plays. Hiding out behind Toxic Barrels here, and that's going to give some pause to the T side. CMY and Ying are the only ones left alive. The flank around from Tarathiel lights them up, looking for the finish, and Celestè will take round 10.
And that is exactly how MBT have been playing. They try to get fast onto that B bomb site, but as soon as the bomb goes down on Japan and they can't get the plant, they desperately looking for a recovery. You could see Ying and CMY, they had nothing more they could do. They were locked out of the site as 4 versus 2 Celestè. There's no bomb down, there's no opportunity for MBT. The CT side just locking it out.
And here's going to be that last buy coming in for MBT. No sense in saving any money before the half, and they will be able to get almost a stack of AKs. Funny, unfortunately, has to go down to an SMG instead, but Celestè, they are flush with cash. They have heaps of utility, and they will be keeping this aggressive play. I love this fan out. They've got one controlling on long. That's Oriophilia with the AWP. They've got the bathroom control, and everybody else is stacked up towards B site.
Heaps of confidence as well for MBT, and for Celestè, this is just huge. They have put in such a performance. Got to be feeling so good about this CT side. If they can get an 11th round here and the pistol goes their way, it's looking all but done. A nice boost coming in from Valenciable. She spotted spots out Japan. That's just the one player, and Tarathiel gets the opening pick. You could see what Ayumi was trying to do. MBT have consistently looked to exploit connector, but unable to find anything. And now 5 versus 4. Once again, MBT with the disadvantage.
Yeah, you can see Japan looking for a wallbang, looking for anything at this point, just to try and take out a few members of Celestè and would force that fast rotate. Now they have left the bomb back towards the spawn site, and it looks like there will be a movement towards A. As you can see, moving back is funny. Should be able to pick up that bomb. But this should be fairly telegraphed. Celestè will know that nobody's in that area. And they already start moving for it.
It's the same strategy again from MBT. The B bomb site take doesn't work early on. Instead, they're going to head towards A, and it's Oriofilia again with the AWP, finding the opening pick, looking for more. Can't quite hit the headshot. The trade is there for Japan, but 4 versus 3. MBT, 30 seconds left. They've still got to get onto the site as the smokes come over.
They've got to get that plant down here, and Tarathiel creeping around pretty quietly around the back. The plant should go down, but you need to win this round. You need to at least take a 5th here. Here come the rest of the CTs.
Utility's limited for the CT side. They might struggle to get into the site here. They don't have flashes to enable the peaks. They're going to have to just hit their shots. Valenceable gets the opener. There's plenty of presence left for the T side. They're playing very passively, but Japan can't get anything done, and it's all onto Funny. She's being chased down. She'll get the first, but the bomb's being defused. This is all over. 11-4 at the half, and what a performance from Celestè.
Celestè know this map inside and outside, and MBT, they try the same strategy too many times, and they get found out once more at the end. It didn't even matter that there was a spray down because the rest of the CTs were just throwing bodies at the front.
MBT just looked so predictable across that T side. It really was one-dimensional. They didn't have the strategies to back up their playstyle. You can see a little bit of frustration coming out from the MBT side of Celestè. They look set. They are so close now from booking themselves a place in the playoffs.
It's like you said, if they take the pistol round, it is all over but the crying. They'd go up 12-4, and that is not a situation MBT expected to find themselves in. We are very likely not going to see that Vertigo map.
Thank goodness for that, eh? But Celestè, what a performance in their first 2 maps, and we're just going to see a few of the highlights here. But I mean, you look at MBT and they're just not in position to get anything done whatsoever. Tarathiel locking down sites like nobody, and Oriofilia with that AWP has been so consistent across the board for Celestè.
There have been a couple of good trades back onto Oriofilia once they get that site on, but no matter what, she's trading herself 1-for-1, and when they already have a number advantage on Celestè, it just means they can come in and take the play. That defuse was clutch, and now we will swap around. Into the pistol round we go with Celestè on the T side.
And MBT, this is an essential pistol round for them. They have a little bit of utility to work with. You can see Oriofilia for Celestè has picked up smokes and 2 flashes. Japan, of course, tasked with a defuse kit for the CT side, and it's a fairly standard strategy early on. Ayumi, she goes for the fast peek, gets the information. Afrelin actually spots her out, so might cause a little bit of a rotation as Celestè. They've got fast controller short.
Looks like they want to try to make that commitment over to the A side as everyone moves towards mid.
Rotation coming through from the CT side. They're starting to put some presence back towards A as the bomb does make its way through the connector. Looks like they are taking control of the bathrooms here and perhaps starting to think about an execute onto the A bomb site. There's a little bit of presence. Ayumi nice and aggressive. Does have the support line. Alex Ying making her way in towards Optimus. But as this push comes through, there's going to be a serious number advantage for Celestè.
If they decide to fully commit to there, they've actually had Afrelin sniff up towards long to see if anyone is waiting and baiting in the area. Speaking of the baiters, still spread out. There's that first pickup onto Afrelin, and the utility's starting to come out. They want to look for the execution, but it's a fake as they head towards B.
Tarathiel just going to sneak away in, still hiding behind the barrels. Japan is buying so much time, completely hidden. They have no idea. She doesn't hit the initial shot. She waits for the planter. She'll get her down, and now the spin has to come around. Celestè not hitting their shots. They will finally do so, but it's 4v3, 4v2, 4v1. Valenceable with it all to do, and there's so many angles to check. Surely this is it. MBT, they will take the pistol, and they give themselves a chance here on Overpass.
Buying as much time as possible. They can get their economy rolling here on the CT side, and MBT desperately needed that round.
Celestè trying to play it perhaps a little bit too intelligently, perhaps trying to make a little bit too much happen there, not quite able to find the shot onto Japan, who played that to perfection, just hiding behind the barrels. We've seen players do it consistently, and it really is a matter of just biding your time. It looks like a silly thing to do if you're found out, but if they don't check you, it's so efficient.
Smattering of rifles and SMGs here for MBT on that first buy, and we'll see what they can get done. A pretty aggressive push out. They will look to control over at mid. Ayumi going as far forward as possible, but it's a 5 train here on Celeste with these pistols.
Just with the Glocks in hands, they're going to look to do as much as they can. They know they need to get up close and personal. Ayumi with that MP9 in towards the long bathrooms could be huge. Ying takes the dink down to 8 HP, and she needs to buy time for this rotation as Celeste. They're just going to storm the bomb site here. They know they've got a tag onto the Ying on the AUG. Manages to get the first. The flank's good for a second, and they are just mopping up here. The bomb should go down, though. Afrelin gets one, so at least they've got the cash. They get a frag, and that's something for Celeste. They only had the Glocks.
They didn't put an investment in at all in that round, so they managed to get the bomb down, and that's at least what they were hoping to do. Even if they didn't manage to take anybody but Ying out, that was the start. Another good flank round, looking at Ayumi on that time, so clearly MBT are learning from their opposition. That will be the round going to the Baeters, but the buys should start to come in here for Celeste.
This is the first real test for MBT. They won the pistol round. They won the anti-eco. This is the important one. The AKs will be coming out. Oriafila even investing onto the AWP, sacrificing utility to get that weapon out, and she has been so good with it across this series so far. Orgs for 3 of the CT side, but still an MP9 and still a FAMAS on Japan. So
bit of a bonus round.
A bit of a bonus round, but they need to win it all the same. Against these AKs, it could be incredibly challenging. We've seen Celeste hitting some serious shots so far this series as the AWP is going to make its way in towards the B-bomb site early on.
Here's the default coming in for Celeste once again, trying to take control of those tunnels over towards Connector, and a little bit control onto Fountain, the rest over at Tracks. Looking to see what they can find, and MBT have fanned out pretty heavily.
Celeste, they are playing a very slow game here. Margins of inches and just starting to take a little bit of map control now. You can see they are sort of posturing towards that B-bomb site. They do have some presence, just being very cautious of the connector area. They've left Tarithiel a little bit isolated, trying to get some information towards the A-bomb site as now they start to queue up towards short. They've taken Phoenix control, might look for a boost here, and there's plenty of presence towards B for the MBT.Baeters.
We'll see if they're able to cross the threshold here and make it happen.
Tarithiel is so advanced on this A-bomb site, and they have no idea.
There's Ying. That's the spray. Nicely done. That might open up the opportunity here. They don't have the bomb with them, but immediately going back to pick it up. And now it looks like the play is going to be onto B, but they have the spray down. They've taken Japan out. They can just close on in and get the plant down. This is rough for MBT, but they managed to trade back a couple. That's a good start to it. CMY, though, burning down. It's all onto Ayumi to try and save the day.
1 versus 3, and MP9 to work with. The star player doesn't have the firepower to try and make this one work, and so far out from the site, and there's so much health on all of the remaining T-sided players. The smoke will be heard dropping onto her. Afrelin not quite aware of the close angle, but
spray wasn't there. That's enough.
On
the reload, that was so close, but Celeste take it all the same.
12-6, ladies and gentlemen. Celeste do get their round started the right way. First rifle buy, and they win it in style. The flank from Tarithiel was so efficient. She gets herself a triple. She unlocks A and then just makes her way straight down to B. Catches Funny, who is a little bit unfortunate. She gets a nice double spray down, but not quite enough to win her team the round. 12-6, and it's going to be the eco from MBT.
Yeah, Celeste have enough money in the bank to get another full buy off. They only lost 2. And this is going to be rough for MBT. If they lose another one, 13-6 would be the scoreline. Let's take a look at what their strat is. They're going full rush over to mid control, and that is where the bomb is headed.
MBT with an opportunity perhaps to try and isolate the planter, and they are going to do just that. The early frag goes the way of Ying, and now this is really awkward. Iceberg, she has the bomb on her back. She needs support desperately as Ying trades her out. That's 2 1-digs for the CT side. There's AKs recoverable. They've got the bomb.
Tarithiel, a little isolated, does manage to turn it back around before the pincer can come in from CMY, but all MBT have to do is guard this bomb.
Ophelia breaks the door, looking for the wall bang with the AWP, not quite going to find it. They know there's plenty of presence. That Molotov will actually force Funny out of the angle, and there's damage being done, but the P250 up close and personal could do work against these AWPers. Tarithiel does so much, but she burns alive. Afrelin makes it 2v1. Ying still going huge, 1 versus 1. Ophelia knows where she is, but there's nothing that Ying needs to do. She can just hold.
Ophelia cannot find a good angle on this because of where Ying's positioned. And man, if there's ever a bad place to have the bomb drop, it doesn't matter. Celeste manages to take the round.
So close, but just about. MBT, they timed that aggression so perfectly. They almost made it happen with the pistols, but Celeste, by the skin on their teeth, secure the round. It is going to mean their economy is right on the ropes, as we will see the full buy coming in from MBT, but they won't care about that. They're 3 rounds away from taking a 2-0 here.
And MBT got to be kicking themselves. Ying just peeking at the wrong moment there. Celeste, let's see what the play is. Again, it was a very aggressive move by MBT the last time they were in a bit of a hole, but they do push to take control over here. On the A side now, we have mid completely wrapped up by them, while the rest of MBT are on the B, and there's another fan out into tunnels. Connector Tarithiel, fully lit, but doesn't go down, and Funny's taken.
and that is an awful start for the CT side. You saw Ayumi trying to peek onto Party very early on, trying to get that information, but doesn't spot it out, and the aggression towards Long is punished brutally by Celestè. They get the advantage. They do have Tarathiel down to just 6 HP, but of course, she can become the information player here. She can start to make these peeks to try and work out where the players are. You can see Ying playing towards the front of Divider, has Ayumi, but she's way back in support. This is going to be all down to Ying. She has to go huge again, hit 2 beautiful
Just
1-digs in the
FAMAS.
previous, but now the utility is going to come. The Molotov will start to burn her alive. She's got to drop the smoke and try and escape on just 8 points of health. She will hightail it out of there, but the damage is being done. CMY's been taken down. She just sat in a Molotov.
Celestè will be able to push up towards the A site here, and it's pretty much just going to be on to Ying with 6 HP to try and push them around the angle. Full control on short, and even have Tarathiel pushing up on long.
This is such a nice movement from Celestè. They have so much map to work with. They know that Ying is going to be somewhere close and personal. She manages to get one, but the trade is almost instantaneous. Ayumi with a nice wallbang on the AWP. Going to try and make her way through the smoke to try and equalize things, but it's 4 versus 2. The peak's
one
good,
tag.
but Ayumi hits it. Now a 3 versus 2. Ayumi still alive towards Truck, still making a nuisance of herself as this bomb goes down. 2 versus 2. Afrelin takes the tag down to 22.
And just needs to get the finisher. Afrelin will fall down. It's down to Oriophilia versus Japan and Ayumi, who's tagged down to 12 HP. Bomb has been planted, so it's a retake scenario. Looking for the tap, and not going to happen. Japan will get that one, and the defuse comes in. MBT will take a much-needed round.
So close. Celestè again finding proactive peaks, getting themselves 2 openers, but just about. The star players really showing up for MBT. Japan and Ayumi, who else would you want in that retake situation?
I can't think of anybody better at this point, so they grab a 7th round here, and Celestè, frustrated yet again. You mentioned the economy starting to look a little rough for them. This is the first time we'll see them on the T side forced into a half-buy scenario.
Yeah, they'll be getting themselves back down onto the pistols. Not a lot to work with at all. They do pick up some utility and support, sacrificing armor on a few players to get that extra nade, that extra smoke, try and give themselves an angle to work, but it is a very strong buy across the board from MBT. They've got the Augs, they've got the FAMAS, and they've got the AWP again onto Ayumi.
Yeah, not having Ayumi die, that was pretty clutch right there. We'll see what the play is. It looks like it's going to be a rush, not entirely up to B. Looks like they decided to take short tunnel instead of monster, and just seeing if they can find a quick pick here as they move through after the Molotov's gone down.
Looking to play for contact as now they will start their rush through
There's
the
funny.
AUG.
Oh, tags away for the second. Can't quite find the spray as the forward position. Tarathiel does get dropped down by Ying as Japan takes Valencia out. There's a lot of trades, but MBT are winning the day. It's just down to Afrelin to try and save this one. Manages to salvage an AUG.
But a 1 versus 4 with that AG, and you can see Japan absolutely trained on her position, won't be able to get anything done. There's a tag, but it's not enough. And MBT looking to pull this one back. Celestè still with a 5-round lead to work with, though, and they'll have the buy if they choose it here. Would be a little bit awkward. You can see Iceberg down on 2,700, so Afrelin might have gone a little bit early with the AK here.
Might be a situation that Celestè aren't as happy with, as they will be only partially buying.
Just looking for that hero AK. Afrelin has the utility behind it as well. There's P250s and Deagles in support, and they need to find some damage here. MBT starting to feel themselves again, starting to get a little bit of confidence back as not going for the early peak.
Now this time, they just maintain control of bathrooms, and there will be a pretty hefty commitment here. Playground now controlled by Celestè as they start to make their way towards long. They do have one in party, but that's immediately tapped by Ayumi on the AWP, so that play sniffed out. MBT should be making moves towards the A site. Everybody's on long for the Ts.
And the rotation is starting to come in now. You can see Ying and Ayumi, the shoulder peak just gets the information, and the AUG looks to do work at range. Not able to find it. The Molotov will buy time, though, and you can see the Ts. They're a little bit confused as to if they should back off, and indeed they are. They're going to make their way back round through the bathrooms and just try and isolate some fights here. They need to find these 1v1s. You can see Afrelin on that hero AK, still trying to get anything she can done, but they're not giving up anything here, MBT. No information at all for Celestè.
Heavy commitment by MBT over towards the A side, and as you mentioned, Celestè don't know this just yet. If they tried to sniff too far forward, that hero AK, Afrelin needs to trade efficiently right now, looking to peek around the side. The spray's there, onto Ayumi, that's the opper deleted, and Ying is able to equalize onto Afrelin, but Iceberg gets one, Oriophilia falling down. It's a lot of trades back and forth, 2v2 now, with the AUG picked up by Valenciable. The bomb plant comes down for Iceberg. The rest of the CTs are scrambling. MBT are in very real danger of losing this round.
The pistol has to stay close to the site as well. You can see Valenciable making the long flank round. The bomb will be planted for her eventually, but Iceberg, with only a P250 and a smoke to work with, has to be the instigator here, has to just try and bide her time. Goes very passive on long, takes a tag, but that's it. And now it is all down to Valenciable playing the bomb. 1 versus 2. The diffuser's coming through for CMY, and Japan protects it. 9-13. MBT, they're not going down quietly.
No, they are not. That was a tough one. Celestè still managed to do a lot of damage to them, but they still have the AWP picked up, salvaged. That FAMAS is really getting some work done this time around. And MBT, they should be able to get yet another buyout. They have a decent bit of money on a few players.
Yeah, Celeste will be able to get the full rifles off the back of that round, though. They did do a good amount of damage. They got themselves some kill bonuses on those pistols. They took it down to 2. They really didn't have a lot to work with, but they made it happen, and now they will be rewarded. Up for Oreophilia, let's get that word out. AKs for the rest of the T side, and what can MBT do? Are Yumi going to go for the very fast peek as pressure towards short early on?
Instant smoke in on short tunnel as they rotate around to try and get some information. Once again, we know Celeste like to do this play, but it's a cautious push out. MBT, don't go too far from home.
Heavy rotation as well. They've got 4 CT players towards this B-bomb site. There's plenty of firepower here for the CT side for MBT.Baeters. If Celeste look to execute, could get a little bit awkward very quickly. MBT not looking to play proactively, not looking to get the information. There's no jump peaks, there's no boosts. They're just going to sit back and let Celeste come to them as the nades, they're being lined up, and it is going to be the execute play coming through from Celeste. First time we've really seen an execute here on overpasses. The jump peak does come through. Ying spotted it. The rotation's going to come through, and they have to hit their shots. Japan gets the early frag, and that makes things very awkward for Celeste.
They're going to try to run through this one, but a little bit trapped up in the Molotov, and they're going to back away right now. It looks like no fully commitment as they just keep keeping their sights trained through the tunnel of Monster.
45 seconds. They have to get towards this site. The flash is good. Tarathiel will be able to find one back.
Trade.
So 4 versus 4, but there's still presence. And CMY with the FAMAS is doing so much work from water. And now they're trying to push on in, but they can't deal with these orgs at range. There's still tags to work with. CMY mopping up house. MBT get double digits. And could this be the comeback they need?
Well, they've broken into it. They lost the last map on double digits just barely. It was 16-10, but MBT have the momentum on their side. And now we have the match pause coming in. This should be for Celeste.
Try and work out what they can do. The double AWP setup's been brought out by the CT side. An interesting time to choose to do that. Of course, they saved the AWP off of Oreophilia, but against the pistols, against these half plays, the AWPs can become quite vulnerable to being rushed down by aggressions from the pistols. So it'll be interesting to see a lot of talking going on there on Celeste. They clearly think they've identified a weakness, and we'll have to see if that pans out over the course of this map. They do have 3 more rounds needed to secure the 2-0 and get themselves through to the playoffs here. MBT desperately trying to cling to life as we do see a highlight. Japan gets traded out 1-for-1 to Rathiel. That's a really nice flashbang, but this was CMY going absolutely huge, just biding her time in the water position. Just so efficient.
Funny as well, managing to find a decent frag on that one, and then once again, CMY just cleaning the rest of the team up. And you talked about needing 3 more rounds. Well, Celeste, we've said that about them for a couple times now, and we do see the buy coming in, not entirely full as the scouts picked up by Valenciable, and it looks like the play is once again towards B.
Yeah, and again, they're going to be walking into a really heavy presence from the CT side. Japan has done so much work towards Monster with that AUG, as they are taking control of short. Tarathiel quite aggressive behind this Molotov. Might be able to catch a timing. Japan has a nade out for the time being, and she lobs the... Oh.
That's the spray down. Tarathiel does manage to get a combo with Iceberg. They've taken another one out. Down goes CMY and Funny as well. This is the chance. Only the trade back onto Tarathiel, and Ying is able to get some work done. Ayumi, though, the last one standing, and she's way back at T-spawn. Here's the plant.
3 versus 1, but I mean, if there's anybody back with this AWP, it is Ayumi, way back in Monster, and they don't expect it, so the easy frag to start things off. There's an AUG and an AK-47 for the T side now to try and defend this one as Ayumi makes her way through Monster. Molotov goes towards the barrels. She is buying so much time. She's trying desperately to find the peak. She does have the defuse kit, so a little bit more time to play with, but it's so passive from Celeste. They know that it's 2 versus 1. The smoke goes onto the bomb, trying to bait the peak as Ayumi. She's going to go wide, and she's trying to pick this off, and she might get it.
No, she can't do it! Ayumi goes down, and Celeste pick up a 14th round to start to swing their momentum.
Finally, Celeste get back on track on the T side. The B push works out perfectly. The aggression's so efficient. Japan a little bit unfortunate. She gets caught lobbing that Molotov, but after that, it is all Celeste just running their way rampant through that B bomb site.
It looks like there's communication on the opposite side now here for MBT. They thought they were going to keep this momentum swinging, and in very real danger now that the win goes through. It was a real hero movement by Ayumi, but just not enough to get it done.
Not quite enough. A little bit unfortunate there. It looked like she had that play down. She spots both of those remaining T-sided players as she peeks in towards water. There is always an opportunity for something special, but not quite able to pull it out of the bag this time as Celeste get within 2, and they've got to be feeling good now. They've had a little bit of a rough mid-round on the T side, but they've got it back, and now they have an opportunity to push on.
Let's see. We'll take a look at our replay scenario. No, excuse me. We're going to go back into live here as the buy comes in for Celeste. It's a little bit better than the last time. You still have 3 AKs set up in the AWP for Oreophilia. On the opposite side, Japan and CMY are the ones rocking the FAMASs, but Ayumi does still have the op. And Looks like the play this time a little bit closer commit towards A. Fountain control should be established here as the fan out from MBT comes in.
Looking to take control of connector here, Celeste. They want to pincer in towards that A-bomb site, and they have forced the CT side off. A very passive early round from Ying and Ayumi. They don't want to be the players to get picked towards that A-bomb site early on, as Invincible just starting to clear some real estate. This is a really nice boost coming in from Ayumi and Ying. Getting that vision deep in towards the bathrooms is not a boost you see all that often at all, but for the time being, Celeste aren't going to look to push the issue in the bathrooms. Tarathiel just lurking around that area might be the first one to die here as the push will come in. He's going to walk right to the crosshairs, and she has no idea. This is all too easy.
That's the tap from Ayumi. Oh, Tarathiel. No idea that one was coming out, and that's going to be Celeste rethinking the strategy for just a moment. They will back off, and looks like the play might rotate towards the B side after all. They drop down on water.
That does make a sound cue, so there's information available for MBT. They are bringing that rotation in. You can see Ying making her way down in towards that B-bomb site, leaving the AWP alone on A, but will it be enough? It's going to be a 4 versus 3 take. Celeste actually with the disadvantage in terms of firepower here, as we'll see Invincible making her way round in towards Monster. Oriophilia does get the opening pick, takes down Japan, and could that bait the rotation? You can see the long flank coming in, but will it be enough? Oriophilia gets the second, but Funny is trading all the while, and Ying doing so much damage as now they're rethinking this plan again. Afrelin's made her way all the way through that A-bomb site in towards Bank. She is getting so much information. She'll hear this rotation. Ayumi knows that there could be aggression, but she's got so many angles to clear. Too many at once.
That's Afrelin getting some massive value here, but the turnabout comes through. Ying does grab Iceberg, and Afrelin manages to spray down. It's a 1v2 situation. The plant should come through pretty quickly. They don't have much time to work with, and now Funny is going to be stuck in a 1v2 retake scenario. Through the smoke she goes.
Oriophilia still with that AWP in her hands as well, and gotta be feeling good. Funny is in such an awkward position here. Limited on her utility, limited in her capability in this execute. Oriophilia is locking down Bank at the moment with that AWP. This is the initial shot, tagged down to 15. There's an opportunity here. The second shot missed, and Afrelin no position to trade it. There is no smoke for this bomb though, and it's out towards Truck. Funny looking to clear so many angles at once. Taps the bomb, looking for the information. She has no idea where Afrelin is, but she's got the shot!
MBT should get the defuse off here. Funny, no kit in hand. That bomb starts ticking, but Celeste are out of that one, and it's going to be a crucial round for MBT.Baeters, picking up an 11th.
That defuse was down to nothing. So close. Celeste nearly securing it, but again, just at the very end, looking a little bit rattled, giving away the isolated 1v1s, and MBT, they draw closer. They give themselves an opportunity to take this to a third map.
Oh boy, we'd be going on to Vertigo here. Celeste certainly more comfortable on that map, but right about now, on this T side, we expected their overpass to be solid, but MBT have pulled it nearly with an even keel. Just need 3 more rounds. Celeste, they need 3 rounds to win it all.
The CT side looking so good for both teams this so far, but will this be the breaking point? The buy is in. It's not great at all, but it's not great for either team. There's MP9s, there's UMPs for the CTs. Oriophilia getting very aggressive up short early on. Finds the opening pick. CMY on the MP9 can only get one. The trade is there again. Oriophilia doing so much work, and the UMPs up close and personal. Ying desperate to find something, but her teammates are making it happen.
Everybody's
it's a 3v2.
Funny's down to 2, but the bomb plant should go through here. Into the smoke it goes. This is desperation as Celeste just need to make it happen. They're just not getting the plant down in time. And it's just a pause in the action for a moment while everyone rethinks this one. And you can tell that Iceberg really wants to get this plant down, but it's not safe.
Ying still in the water, is trying desperately to give herself an angle, and if she gets too aggressive here, it could be game over. There's a tag so low, 2 HP for Funny, but Iceberg's still not able to get this bomb down with a minute left on the clock, and Oriophilia really needs to be the instigator here, needs to find something. You can see Ayumi so far away, but Funny has the angle on lockdown. It's all down to Iceberg. 1 versus 3 on that site, and she's just peeked wide at the wrong timing. Ying mops up, and somehow MBT, again, they're making it happen on the CT side.
And they do it with 3 still alive. MBT starting to pull within even, and we could be in for a very interesting scenario if this one ends up going the way of MBT.Baeters. Match pause comes in. This should be for Celeste. The last time they took this pause, we saw them communicating very vigorously.
And they are just down to the pistol buy again. They really don't have a lot of cash. Perhaps a little bit of frustration coming out there from Celeste. They looked so good on their CT side, but the T's, they're just not clicking. They're just not firing on all cylinders as it is indeed. Celeste calling that pause, calling the timeout, trying to get something going. They are 2 rounds away from booking themselves a space in the playoff, but MBT, they're not letting them get it easily.
No, they're not. Only able to pick up 1 round in the last 5 or 6 here, and it looks like we'll be taking a look at the replay. Oriophilia coming up huge to take down Japan and CMY, but then it was a pretty quick turnabout here as Funny was able to find some shots back.
Yeah, they just needed to defend the bomb plant a little bit more efficiently. They got a little bit too keen, a little bit too aggressive, and it will force them down.
Oh no, it's a pistol round here for Celeste.
P250s across the board, a little bit of utility to work with, but not a lot at all. And the full buy is very strong for MBT, saving those 2 AKs, of course, as well as the peak will come in early on. Ying not spotting out too much, and they are going to take control of long here, Celeste.
Yeah, playing towards Playground instead of Fountain seemed to suit Celeste in that position because the very aggressive defense from MBT did not spot them out. Meanwhile, they'll retreat back here. There is still a site checked overlooking long. That's going to be Ying only with the AUG. And it's going to be one feint up by Tarathiel towards the B side, and she's going to get taken down immediately by Funny, but there is some information given here, and this should be the execution coming up through long. Afrelin going to move around the side. Maybe this is a chance for them. They do start to throw that utility out here as they wrap around the back. Ying needs to be able to pick these kills up, but everyone through the smoke has no idea how close they all are. It doesn't matter, though. MBT, Ayumi cleaning up 2 on the AK-47, and Ying manages to grab Afrelin. It's just down to Oriophilia. Headshot taken back, but it doesn't matter.
So 1 versus 4, and there's not much more she can do with that P250. All too simple for MBT to draw within 1, and now we are really going right down to the wire. This game just never stops giving. 14-13 as the buy will come in for Celeste. Oriophilia has enough cash to pick up the AWP if she wants, but instead opting to take the AK-47.
I wonder what this says. Maybe they're going to go for another rush play at this point. Celeste might be feeling a little flustered if it does pull with an even on their map pick. All of a sudden, their confidence might be shot. MBT feeling it for themselves. A couple of saved AKs on their side. They rounded out with a few AUGs as well.
Really nice buy, full utility across the board as well for that CT side. They have so much to work with as, again, it looks like Celeste, they want to go for the rush towards this B-bomb site. The early flashbang will keep them a little bit passive as short control is going to be taken by the CT side. We saw this so consistently from Celeste, but it's the first time really MBT have looked to push the issue, and they are going to leave Japan a little bit isolated as the pop flash isn't coming through, but Tarathiel still able to find the opening pick, and now it looks awkward. Funny's low HP, but she will be able to get 1. The trade is there, though, and now things really start to hot up. 4 versus 3. Funny has to do so much work here as the push starts to come in, but it's taken down, but the trade almost instantaneous. 3 versus 2 now. The B-bomb site the target.
They've not yet pushed in, but they do decide to rotate down towards Monster. That Molotov will fade away as Iceberg gets tagged just a little bit. Training sides Ying needs to get that execution down, but she gets lit instead. 29 HP left to work with here, but there is an elimination. It's going to be Oriophilia, headshot, 2v2, even numbers, not anymore. Ayumi is the last one standing, and she's backed away towards A site. This should be the plant here for Celeste.
Makes her way in towards heaven. She's looking for the angle on the planter as the bomb goes down. The spam not quite connecting, and
smoke goes down.
Smoke gives her an escape route. It's a 2 versus 1. Ayumi on half health, desperate to try and find something. She has a couple of flashbangs to work her way into the site as the pop flash comes through, but they know exactly where she is, and Celeste are playing this so intelligently. They know the bomb is planted for them in towards Monster, so they're just stacking up.
We've seen Ayumi be in this situation before. This time on the AK, though. She moves her way back over to Toxic Barrels, needs to get that defuse down. She's got a kit to work with, but it's not going to be enough. Celeste take 1, and they are guaranteed at least overtime.
And they're 1 round away from taking this 2-0. The economy's just about going to prop up one last buy for MBT, but that was exactly what Celeste needed. They have really struggled to get anything going on their T side, but this time it happens. The rush works out, and Ying going to drop down onto the MP9 as a consequence.
MBT need to hold this one for a couple more rounds, force an OT play. But it's going to be a full stack of AKs for Celeste, and that might be enough for them to get their confidence back. Looks like the play is more towards A this time. They'll look to establish control on the fountain. In fact, going Playground once again, still playing fairly cautiously. At least Oriophilia is.
Yeah, very aware, of course, of the opportunities these Orcs have at range. The T side, they don't want to give anything up here. They are so close to booking themselves a place in the playoffs, and the pressure is going to be there. They're going to be a little bit concerned. These Orcs can do so much damage at ranges. It's a very passive early round Celeste. They're watching for aggressions. Nothing so far from MBT on that CT side. Haven't been too fond of getting aggressive anywhere in particular, as control of short is being taken. They're taking Banana. They're taking the bathroom.
They've got long, too, for Tarathiel here. So they know
to work it.
This is MBT pushed back. They set up a fan out. Really, the one to watch for right now is going to be Funny, as they move the bomb in the general direction of long. Not quite yet.
They're waiting for a pick here. They've got presence towards either bomb site. You can see in towards short, you've got Valinsport. In towards Monster, you've got Afrelin. The smoke from the CT side has a gap in the edge, but the Molotov, that'll tick onto Afrelin. That'll give away the position at least one of these T-sided players, as Tarathiel, desperate to get something happening towards long, held off by the smoke for the time being. Incredibly spread out, Celeste. They're going to have to find some picks here.
AUG sights trained on this long. If they can take down Funny, that would start to turn the tide here. But Afrelin, meanwhile, over at B, trying to get some information for her team. Sees Japan get sprayed down, and here's the execution. They are going to be able to take down Funny. The bomb's picked up, and it's an immediate move for Celeste. This is going to be all on the line for MBT.Baeters. 3v2 situation. They have the advantage, but the bomb is going to go down for Celeste here. And they need to make tracks over to it. They need to stop this. This is their tournament on the line.
Oriophilia has to go absolutely huge here. She has to find frags. Is MBT going to push
That's
through
one.
first headshot? She's looking for more, but the double peek is in, and it's all down to Valincible. She has a Molotov to try and work this plant. Ayumi goes wide and hits the headshot. 15-14. We are going to the 30th round, and a team kill with a nade takes us there.
I cannot believe it right now, Wolfie. Celeste, it looked like they might have had that situation in hand, but MBT keep their heads, keep their cool, and they've earned a 30th round. One more shot to try and force the OT.
The buy will still be incredibly strong for Celeste, and how tilting does that have to be? 3 versus 3, and you get killed by a nade from your own teammate. Put you 3 versus 2 and allow the retake realistically to come through.
Nerves might be showing for Celeste after all. We've talked about this team riding emotional momentum, but when it comes down to the wire, pressure can get to you. The question is, where's the execution now coming out of Celeste? We've seen them go towards A the last couple of times.
This time going to send the AWP on Oriophilia towards B. She has been so good and so consistent finding these picks, but the boost is so efficient. Valencia, no idea, takes the damage, not quite able to find the frag. An iceberg through the wall opens up onto Ayumi. That is a frag out of nowhere for Celeste.
And that's going to be huge right now. Without the op in tow, MBT are going to be in some trouble to try and defend this B site. Valincible is tagged, but they're not too worried about that right now as the utility just goes up over the wall.
They're baiting the rotate. They're going to go back up towards the A-bomb site here, and you can see the commit from Ying. She's made her way down. This is all down to Funny on the A-bomb site. She has so much work to do. Playing around Optimus has to find this initial shot. Tarathiel doesn't clear the angle. Funny opts not to shoot, and that could be key. Valincible goes wide. That's an initial frag. The trade is there, though, and the A-bomb site completely open. Tarathiel gets aggressive, gets the second. 4v2. Celeste so close.
And there's the guard out for Tarathiel. If she keeps her sights trained on that one, that should be enough for them. The bomb does go down. It looks like there's going to be a rotate back for a couple. Iceberg and Afrelin moving away just to make sure the flank can't come through. Sights trained. Oriophilia looking for this one. CMY hesitant to push through. They need to go. They both got defuse kits, but they have to get the execution out. That's going to be one. CMY, it's down to Japan to hold on to the tournament for MBT.
Trying to peek anything she can, but Oriophilia has it down. Celeste have booked themselves a place in the playoffs 2-0 once again.
And that looked oh so close. We might have had overtime. We might have had vertigo. But what might have been is no longer relevant. Celeste from Indonesia hang on their map pick to force a playoff.
And what a play from the invited team, taking down MBT.Baeters, who looked so good in their earlier games. And what a performance from Celeste, riding on that emotion, hitting their shots and finding rounds.
And Celeste keep that record of only 2 maps per best of 3 alive as they go to shake hands with the MBT members who should be able to hold their heads high. That was a hell of a round on Overpass.
Oh, that was something special. MBT really bit back on the CT side. They really made it happen. It looked so like they were going to bring it through to OT, but at the last possible moment, Celeste come up huge and they make it happen on Overpass.
That they do, and Celeste will be making their way into the playoffs where they'll face off against 7 p.m. later on in the day. I cannot wait to see how they deliver. It was so hard to tell how strong this team was because the first time we got to see them, it was on Vertigo. It was up against Orange Sphinx. There were so many question marks going down, but they've just answered a whole lot of them up against MBT.
Yeah, there were questions after that initial loss to one of the strongest teams in the tournament, of course, but it just got better and better from them there. They have not lost a map since that initial loss 0-2 to Orange Sphinx, and they have looked so good. This is the closest they've been.
16-14 on Overpass, and I mean, MBT, it's so close. It's so rough to go down at the end of the day, but they had such a good push there when they got onto the T side. Eventually, it just forced in favor of Celeste, and this is why they picked that map. They clearly knew how to execute.
Yeah, you can understand the pick of Overpass from Celeste, and it really does raise questions about that nuke pick as we do go through, and I mean, look at that from
30 kills onto
Tarathiel.
1.3 KDA. Yeah, there was a lot of deaths on either side, but man, you can't argue with those numbers.
You never argue with a 30 bomb, and that is absolutely huge for Celeste. And for Tarathiel as an individual, really got to be feeling good as she goes into the playoffs. Of course, playing later today as we do look at the top ratings across the board.
This is very even, actually. Oriophilia versus Ayumi.
I mean, Ayumi actually has the better rating despite being on the losing side.
Yeah, and I think this really speaks volumes about how the comeback from MBT was nearly affected. Ayumi was doing great work, not just in the AWP, but when she picked up an AK.
Yeah, it was so close. One of the tightest games I've ever commentated on. And, I mean, the scores really show it all. You can see the rating, the kills so close. In the end, it was the KD. Oriophilia just a teeny bit higher and really got the AWP in her hands all that more. You can see the disparity in the kills on the AWP, so that could have been the difference.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right, but it was such a close round, too. That first one going fairly heavily in favor of Celeste, and I think that was the big surprise there because it was the map of MBT.Baeters, but when it turned around for them, Celeste, they just knew exactly what they needed.
Yeah, I think you really do have to draw back to that nuke pick, and it was such an issue for MBT, who did show up in such a big way here. You can see everybody contributing, everybody hitting their shots, finding kills. A 1.16 for Funny. That was so impressive, but just not quite enough.
Yeah, Funny definitely stepping up and delivering. It really was not a story of the stats being deficient in any regard. CMY, of course, being a little bit lower on that one, but all the same, sacrificing a little bit to try and guard some things. Over on the side of Celeste, though, big numbers across the board. Tarathiel with that 30 bomb, as you talked about, Ori Affiliate 28, Afrolin 22, and man, it was impressive from these ladies from Indonesia.
Yeah, these are the stats you really can't argue with. They had such an impressive series. 3 players above 20 frags, and the others weren't that far away either, doing damage, finding themselves opening kills as well, which is always impressive. And I mean, Celeste just put in a team performance across 2 maps and really made it happen.
That they did, and it continued to have a little bit of momentum swing back and forth. We saw MBT really gaining the upper hand a couple of times. It was all about the economic play, but the loss bonus certainly went in their favor of Celeste. After a while, they managed to start clawing it back. Just a couple of rounds was all they needed, and once they strung it together, off to the races.
Yeah, and MBT, it has been a consistent theme across their games that they've struggled to keep that economy in check. They've struggled to make sure they can buy as much as possible, and perhaps that's something they need to look into. Alongside that map pick, I'm going to keep going back to it. Nuke, that was not the right call.
I agree with you. I think they probably would have been better served to try something else, maybe Dust 2. They didn't ban out Vertigo. Of course, it didn't end up mattering at the end since we didn't make it all the way to map 3. But yeah, a little bit rough in that map pick and ban. I think they can take a lot from this tournament, though, looking back on it and seeing what they can refine strategy-wise. I can't wait to see more of them coming up in future events. MBT.Baeters, they definitely proved there's a lot of power coming out of Malaysia, not just Orange Sphinx, but we will be going to an interview right about now.
So congratulations once again.
Thank you.
And the first question I want to ask, it's kind of continuing from yesterday when I asked you about the preparations for today. Like from the band picks, we see that you guys have played a lot of different maps throughout like each couple of days, and it's been changing. Are you guys trying to figure out what kind of maps you guys want to play, or is this something that like you've been focusing on the opponent and then banning what they're good at?
Yes, we're focusing on the opponent, so we're banning what we're afraid of. Like I don't like the maps that we don't think that like we can take it. So, but we went to practice on the rest of the map so that we can counter what they're preparing. So we prepared Nuke yesterday because we thought Nuke was one of the maps that they could pick, but it ended up being a good match.
第一个问题也是问到了关于地图 BP 的事情，就是因为他们其实这3天打下来，每次打的地图都不太一样，也是问了他们是针对对手，还是说想要找一下自己的状态？因为队伍也是在比赛之前才建立不久。那他刚刚也回答说，其实他们很多时候他们的 BP 是针对对手而做出一个 BP， 然后他们其实昨天也练了一下 Nuke， 也因为觉得对方很有可能会选这张地图，而且没想到今天打出来效果会这么好。Alright, so for the second question, round 24. That was when you guys called a timeout because MBT, they were catching up really fast. And in that timeout, we saw that you had a lot of different gestures. Like you were showing like this, and then you're like throwing stuff. Can you maybe share with us what was going on?
There was miscommunications on the B-Long side. There were no one to support it. So I told them to flash over the wall so that the one guarding the B-Long over there will be blind so that you can just easily kill them. But they were like miscommunication because only one B-Long was there. The rest was in B-short, so I told them we should support the B-Long to get in like that.
也是第2次回合的时候，他们当时喊了一个暂停，然后我们看到他有非常多的动作在跟队伍做一个交流，也是问了一下当时是发生什么样的事情。他们说想要场馆的时候，他们觉得有很多交流上的一个失误，所以需要先多沟通一下，然后也是说需要扔一颗瞬爆闪扔过去之后才能去抢场馆，然后没想到他打进去的时候场馆只有1个人，其他人都是在工地短管的地方，所以当时也是有些小失误，不过整体上问题也没有太大。那最后一个问题就想要问关于下一场比赛他们要对上7 PM 有什么样的看法 ？So last question, your next match against 7 PM. Can you maybe share some of your thoughts?
7 PM, my thoughts of 7 PM is they're the strongest team from what I saw. So like we're just going to play our best and see where it goes because I don't think we're gonna win, but we will win, I think.
But you have to stay confident.
I stay confident.
Anything else?
No.
这个最后一个问题问他们关于7PM，他们是觉得这次7PM 7PM 应该是比赛最强的一支队伍，他们也会尽最大努力去打好比赛，然后他自己也是觉得比较没有信心，不过最后还是说了一下要给自己 confidence。
Yeah.
好，那我们采访就到这里结束了，让我们稍作休息一下，等待下一场比赛的开始。